All right. So, officially welcome, Sally, to this session. Thanks for joining. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's nice to be
Great.
here.
Yeah, welcome. So we'll just start off, have a little look at today's quote and so on. Then we'll go into the lesson. Hopefully Iona will join us shortly. And then for the lesson, if you do that process with us, that little 2 minutes, that'd be great. Okay, so can you see the screen okay?
Yeah.
So if you read the quote, and then we'll just have a little chat about it, and that'll lead us nicely into the lesson.
Every grievance you hold hides a little more of the light of the world from your eyes until the darkness becomes overwhelming. Everything you forgive restores the light. So ask yourself, who is it you are really hurting?
Which is a nice lead into the quote. It's really about having this. In fact, just read the first couple of paragraphs of this, I think, because I just explore it a little bit.
Where it says the determination to do what?
Yeah.
The determination to do what, you may well ask. The determination to be totally honest with yourself, as today's inspirational quote asks you to be, which your ego or belief in separation will not like at all. It's only this kind of radical self-honesty that will help you uncover its dark ways and let them go, so you can stop hurting yourself, which is what holding your grievances really amounts to: self-attack and self-harm.
So just pause it there. I think that's that's really the nub of the grievance issue. You're just attacking yourself, which is not a very intelligent thing to do. But if you're not aware, then you're doing it and you think you're doing it to someone else. Grievance is directed against someone else, but actually it's attacking your own self, your own higher self, capital self, and your own peace of mind and freedom and love and everything that you value. It's kind of self-evident, because when you hold the grievance, you're not in an expanded state. You're in a very contracted, limited state. So by definition, then you've just attacked the higher self that's expansive and unlimited and rests in pure formless awareness. But it needs to be pointed out, which is why Jesus, or Yeshua, so as we decided to call him, because that actually was his original name. He just points it out to us to say, well, yeah, you need to really see that this is what it is and what's happening. Otherwise, you'll continue under the illusion that somehow your grievances serve you, because they serve to project your guilt outwards and somehow get rid of your guilt. That's really what the ego's program is. It's to use grievances to project guilt and tell you that you've got rid of it because you projected it onto someone else. But in truth, you've just confirmed that guilt is true and real, because you've acted on it and projected it out. You can't give what you don't have. So that's why grievances are so disturbing to your peace of mind, because the more you hold them, the more guilt you experience, and guilt is usually destructive to the to peace of mind. I'm going to just show you this diagram again. So this is the metaphysics we talk about in the course, where he talks about guilt quite a bit. So where are we? There we go. So this is the course manual. It's from the course manual. So we go through this stuff in some detail. And where are we? There we go. So if you have a look at the metaphysics of it, guilt underpins this sense of an individual self. It's the consequence of believing in an individual identity. Because then in order to be individual, I must have denied God or love or oneness. So the guilt that arises from that is the price that the ego asks us to pay for our individual identity. But then it doesn't want to pay that price. So it says, well, to someone else, it says, well, you have the guilt then. You pay the price. I don't want it. You have it. So I'll project it onto you. And that's really what a grievance is. It's a projection of the blame for this apparent sin of separation outwards onto someone else. Thinking that you can actually get rid of your guilt that way, but actually you just confirm it, because if you keep giving something outwards in the form of accusation, blame, and attack, then you confirm that thought system is real and that you have a lot of it to give. So that's why grievances just will never work, because they just confirm the guilt. They confirm you're separate. They confirm you have sinned. And then you are condemned by the ego to repeat this cycle of trying to project your guilt outwards, get rid of it, and of course never succeeding. And guilt entails attack, blame, fear. It's all part of the ego's thought system that is never going to make us or anyone happy. So this is the metaphysics of it. This is why grievances don't work, because they just recycle the guilt and they confirm your individual identity as separate from love, and that's the whole problem. That thought of the belief in that separation is the problem. That's the ego. So it just confirms the ego's belief system and keeps you away from awareness of who you really are, which is the love and the perfect oneness. Does this diagram kind of resonate? Does it make sense?
Yeah, the words make sense. The order of it, I haven't quite got my head around, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll revisit it.
I love the title, Descent
into Hell. Yeah. And hell is really the enervated, helpless, enervated little life that the ego's trying to convince us that we have. So if you believe you're a victim, then you're leading this helpless, enervated little life, and you're in hell. Believing all of this is real is hell, and trying to navigate your way through a world characterized by guilt, sin, fear, and attack. The reason it's in this order is because this is how it started in the mind. It started with a thought, which then became a belief in separation. We wanted to believe the thought, and so the ego then got born as this belief in this false idea. And then the individual sense of self was born from that. Oh, well, now I'm an individual. And then underpinning the individuality was the guilt. So it kind of came sequentially. So that was how we started, from pure formless awareness, perfect oneness, how this descent happened. And then we went down the ladder of separation through all of these thoughts that become inevitable if you make the one error. This is what Jesus is saying. If you believe in separation, then the ego's thought system becomes inevitable. You have to believe in guilt and sin, and you must project it out. And this is the world that comes from this belief. So it's just showing that descent, how it how it manifested in form through this big bang, projection of guilt and fear outwards to miscreate a physical universe and all the forms in it, which now keep playing out this pattern of accusation, blame, and attack over and over and over again on each other. Really is symbolic of this attack on God, this attack on love that was the foundation of the ego's thought system. So it's a useful, we refer to it quite a lot, to go back to the metaphysics and say, okay, so why, let's consider the question of, well, why don't grievances work? And this is the comprehensive answer. This is why they don't work, because they keep the ego alive, very much intact, and they'll keep this pattern of trying to project guilt outwards and get rid of it that way, going forever. And you'll keep having grievances, and you'll keep feeling miserable, and there's no resolution within the ego's thought system. That's what it demands you do. So the only way out is to look at the whole thing and say, well, separation isn't true, grievance isn't true, I'm getting upset over nothing. Only perfect love or oneness is true, and that's the resolution of the whole thing. Okay, so let's go back to this. We've got a couple more paragraphs to read, and then we'll dive into the lesson. Just one more. So if you read for no wonder Yeshua.
No wonder Yeshua calls the ego totally insane. Any thought system that attacks love and its plan for your happiness and awakening from all forms of suffering and death can only be mad. But can you really expect anything else from what is really a death wish? In the first expression part.
No, it's okay. You don't have to. Actually, yeah, that could be useful. Discuss the nature and origin of grievances. Yeah, read that paragraph from we discussed the nature and origin of grievances.
In the first expression part of today's bonus discussion in meditation, we discussed the nature and origin of grievances and talked about how grievances and expectations, what Joshua calls idle wishes in the Course in Miracles, and Siddhartha,
Siddhartha is the Buddha.
aka the Buddha, called Tanha, which literally means thirst in Pali, which is usually translated as craving in English, are two sides of the same illusionary coin. How to recognize these egoic temptations as they arise, how to let them go using a simple 4-step formula.
So, yeah, the point that this particular discussion hammers home, and we had another one similar yesterday, is that these idle wishes and grievances go together. So Jesus calls it idle wishes, and Buddha called it tana or craving. But it's the same thing. It's the movement of the mind saying, I expect, I want something to be what it's not, something different from what it is. So the expectation then sets you up for the grievance, because if it's not as you expect it, then you're going to have a grievance, which in the Buddhist teaching is called aversion. Aversion is the grievance of A Course in Miracles, but they're the same thing. They're just different pointers to the same movement in the mind. And it's to recognize, okay, if I can drop my expectations, then I'm also a long way towards dropping my grievances. Because without those expectations, why would I have a grievance? If I don't expect anything from anyone, then how can I have a grievance? So, but it's these hidden expectations. So I expect you to do this. I expect you to behave in certain ways, and then you don't, and then I find myself in a resistance, and then that's the grievance. To what's arising. And it's a pattern. It's a habit of thinking that can be broken through forgiveness or letting go. You can simply look at your idle wishes and your grievances and say, no, these thoughts, these emotions, these feelings are not true and not real, and I can let them go. And then they use a process like these lessons and the little breath breaks and meditations around them to let it go, to actually just drop the feeling and the thought and the emotion, and find that place of awareness beyond them. We call pure formless awareness.
When it says the simple 4-step formula, what's that referring to?
Watch the I think it was actually something from Deepak Chopra, but have a watch of it because it's revealed in there. Essentially, the method is to become aware of the thought and the emotion, observe it, and then with the help of a lesson and the breath to release it. So those are the two major steps of any of the kind of processes that I use. An awareness of it, Okay, so you observe it, observe thought, emotion, sensation in the body, and then second step is to release into, and just find that awareness beyond it. So those are the two major steps. I think it was actually, what did Deepak say? It was a stop process. It's been a while since I ran that session. So stop. Yeah, stop process, Deepak Chopra. Let's have a look. I think it's there. So it says, just move that out the way. So take 3 deep breaths. Stop. Take 3 deep breaths. That's the T. Observe your breath and your body. Proceed with awareness and compassion. So I think it was a modification of that, saying, okay, so let's take in a deep breath. You observe thought, emotion, sensation. What's going on? If I'm noticing the difficult emotion, difficult thought, then just observe it for a bit, and then you make a decision that, this isn't what you want. You don't like the feeling, you don't like the thought, you don't like the energy of it, and you release it with the breath. So we'll practice that in the meditation today, I think. And by all means, go and listen to that talk, because there's quite a bit in there. So about a 3-hour session, I think, in there. Okay. So any questions on that? I mean, it's pretty straightforward stuff, but just the foundation really of why grievances don't work, and how to start undoing them. So let's have a look at the lesson. So let's click on there. So I think what I want to actually ask Sally, if you can, because Iona's not joined us, if you can take us through that little, just a couple of minute process to prepare for it.
Okay. So
maybe just explain to Iona what you do.
It's called energy alignment method. It's a kinesiology method where we release resistance to whatever it is the subject we're working with. So today's the Course in Miracles. So I'm just going to say a few words for you just to listen to. I'm going to repeat it 3 times, and then I'm going to repeat the positive affirmation that goes with it 3 times. Just invite you to get comfortable, close your eyes.
So do we just say it in our minds as you say it?
In your minds, yeah, or you can just listen. It works just the same.
Okay.
So I'm just going to say it, you just listen. I'm ready to release and let go of all my resistance to radical self-honesty. I let go of all guilt and fear. I release self-attack and self-harm. I release this now in all forms, all levels, all points in time. I'm ready to release and let go of my resistance to radical self-honesty. I let go of all guilt and fear. I release self-attack and self-harm. I release this now from my energy in all forms, all levels, all points in time. I am ready to release and let go of my resistance to radical self-honesty. I let go of all guilt and fear connected with this. I release self-attack and self-harm. I release this now in all forms, all levels, all points in time. Take a deep breath. Let that all go. And then we're going to say the positive version of that. I am in truth and peace and love. I welcome this into my awareness now, in all forms, all levels, all points in time. I allow myself to know the truth of who I am, which is love and peace. I welcome this into my energy now, in all forms, all levels, all points in time. I allow myself to know the truth of who I am. I am love. I welcome this into my energy now, in all forms, all levels, all points in time. And just sit for a moment in the feeling of love. And then open your eyes when you're ready.
Thank you, Sally. That was a nice start to it, I think. Definitely just changes the energy a bit.
Takes the resistance away a bit.
How did you feel about that, Donna?
Yeah. It's lovely. Thank you.
Sigh.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can, when we, as an intro to our sessions, we can do a little process like that, just to get everyone into the right energy. Okay. So let's have a look at the lesson then. So, Sally, if you can read, those are the two lessons for review that we're doing today on that slide, and then we'll actually go into reading them.
Only God's love's plan for salvation awakening will work. Holding grievances is an attack on God's love's plan for salvation awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Which are very direct lessons. So we'll go and have a look at what Yeshua has to say to us today. So what we do is read the original, and then reread the translation with the translated terms in there, and then discuss it. Just, anything coming up for you, any thoughts. So if you want to read the original paragraph, Sally.
There you go. Okay. Only God's plan for salvation will work. It is senseless for me to search wildly about for salvation. I have seen it in many people, in many things, but when I reached for it, it was not there. I was mistaken about where it is. I was mistaken about what it is. I will undertake no more idle seeking. Only God's plan for salvation will work, and I will rejoice because his plan can never fail.
Okay, and then if you read the, so we've translated a couple of the words there.
Only perfect love's plan for awakening will work. It is senseless for me to search wildly about for awakening. I have seen it in many people, in many things, but when I reached for it, it was not there. I was mistaken about where it is. I was mistaken about what it is. I will undertake no more idle seeking. Only perfect love's plan for awakening will work, and I will rejoice because its plan can never fail.
Okay, so any thoughts on that?
feels nice.
Mm.
It was comforting.
Yeah. When you read the second time, did you get any sort of extra insights? Do these translations? So the translations are the italicized words, just so you know. So when I've changed anything, then I just put it in italics. So instead of God's plan, it's perfect love's plan, and salvation is awakening. Those are the two major translations.
It feels softer in the translation.
Yeah. So we changed God to pure formless awareness or perfect love, or a combination of both of those, because it's really a state. It's appointed to a state of mind. God has many connotations for a lot of people, as we know. So it's a greatly misused and misunderstood word. So we changed that just to give you a more kind of experiential access to the lesson. Shall we say it?
I still feel that the word God is out there somewhere, and perfect love feels in my heart.
Yeah,
exactly. I've worked on it and I've studied the words, and I know it's all the same thing. It still feels like that for me.
Well, words have power. They point us. A word creates an energy state in us, and so use the pointers. I mean, these are only pointers to these states of the mind, but use the pointers that are most helpful. They're going to point you there most directly. That's really the idea. So hence the the translation, and it gives you an opportunity to reread it and really contemplate it as well. Okay, so read it again, read it with an alternative language, and hopefully get a deeper understanding than on the first read. So any thoughts on the lesson? You want to give us a little summary of that paragraph?
Stop searching. There's nothing out there.
Yeah. So he's just saying this external searching mechanism of the ego, seek and do not find, is at some point in the text, I think he says all external searching, mental illness is all external searching is a form of mental illness. That's the quote. So it's the seeking outside of ourselves, the idle wishes, for something that's going to satisfy, something that's going to make us happy. And he's saying, but you've looked everywhere for this, many places, but when you reached for it, it was not there, because you were mistaken about where it is. You've been looking in the wrong place, essentially. Look outside of yourself, you'll never find it. So I will undertake no more idle seeking, and it's a statement of intent. Right? So only this plan is going to work. Only going within, only finding the love within me is going to work, and I can be happy. I can rejoice at that, because its plan can never fail. Which, as you say, is very very comforting. Just drop into it and go, okay, well, it's there. It's always been there, and I just need to follow the plan that's going to work instead of the plan that doesn't work. Which kind of makes you smile. I mean, so you shake your head at some of the things that you've done, I've done. I'll personalize it, and human beings do. She says you search wildly about for this, and actually, it's not going to work. So, any other thoughts on that, Leona?
Well, I was just pondering on my wild searchings that I've done, and how wild the feeling can still grab me, and panic me, and I'm more days than some just having to really calm it all down and go within. In fact, when you said just go within, there was a lovely sort of energetic shiver from here right down my left side. So it's confirmed.
Yeah. And then from the within, then you can express it out. So
Yeah.
your conversation earlier about the painting, if you really connect with that, it has to then come through you. It extends through you. And then then you become the extender of it.
Yeah.
Which confirms it again to you. So okay, well, if I'm extending it, it must be in me. So that's then part of your spiritual practice. You go within, connect with it, and then in the extension, well, you'll know it flows through, doesn't it? And you're like, yeah, I'm really connected. It's flowing through me, and it feels really good, and it's confirming that this presence is in me. And now I actually have something on the physical level as evidence of that, which is useful as well. In your times when you forget, you go, okay, well, go look at the painting, and that becomes a connector to that inner state. So I think that, there's got to be a market for this. If you it's like spiritual art, if you can paint things that connect people with their inner self, like surely the people would be like, yeah, that's an amazing painting. It's not just a pretty picture. It's like I can look at this, and this can take me back and remind me of myself, and I can use this as part of this process of reconnecting with myself. And maybe we could experiment with doing some meditations on art. I don't know. I'm just bouncing ideas around. But you got a profound painting, then I got a meditation on it. It could be really good.
All right.
Meditative art. So just like visual art, but now there's audio. So now it's a multi-dimensional experience to take someone into a different space, to change their state. So I think that's really the essence of great art, isn't it? Is it changes people's state. If you can change people's state profoundly, then it's good art.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like your extraordinary paintings would do that.
Yeah, I'm just I agree. And I love when a piece of art touches somebody so profoundly, and then they talk about it in their own way. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure it will unfold for you. You just got to trust.
Thank you.
Trust the process.
Definitely a big reminder to trust.
And that the logistics of time and space and money, and that'll be worked out if you trust. That's really that is the way. Just hand it to the Holy Spirit. That's we say that. It just means let it go and say, yeah, that all of that will work out if I trust, if I go with my heart, and I'm really authentic to that. It's that will work out. I know, because I'm now working for God, for love, and that presence, that energy is going to help you to do the work that you need to do. And it will, because it's the power behind all powers. It's the power of the universe, true universe, that's now going to lead you back and other people back to the truth. So that can help you in strange and extraordinary ways, miraculous ways, to do the work that you're doing. Okay, so do you want to move on to the second paragraph and read that?
Yep.
The original and then the translation.
All right. These are some suggested forms for applying this idea specifically. God's plan for salvation will save me from my perception of this. There is no exception in God's plan for my salvation. Let me perceive this only in the light of God's plan for salvation. Alternatively, perfect love's plan for awakening will save me from my perception of this. There is no exception in perfect love's plan for my awakening. Let me perceive this only in the true awareness of perfect love's plan for awakening.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect love's plan for awakening will save me from my perception of this, about my mistake, about what it is, about my idle seeking.
Whatever the situation is, this plan will save you from your perception.
Yeah, no exceptions.
Which is interesting. It will save me from my perception. That's what you're being saved from your own misperception of it.
Oh yes, yes. It's me that's making up this hell. It's me, but it's not me. I'm bringing my awareness, and when I'm aware of what's happening, I can see that it's not me. Okay, let me
save me from my misperception based on the ego's limited awareness of the situation.
I think I was listening to your recorded talk this morning, and I wrote down, I'm terrified of losing my ego identity and becoming pure formless awareness. That was what struck me at, I don't know, about 5 to 7 or something, whatever it was this morning. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
Terrified of losing my identity. You were having a conversation with Ingrid, Anna. Anyway, and she wanted to be a singer. She said, you always sing, but you're not a singer. So yeah, that conversation. I thought, I always paint. It's my expression. Who cares what I call myself?
Yeah. I remember that conversation. Nadia was her name.
Nadia.
Yeah.
And that was just perfect for me. Honestly, it sometimes the perfection of this process I just open the phone. I say, thank you. Yes, perfect. That's just exactly it. Yeah.
Well, that's, we were talking before you came with Sally about the program. The idea of all this content is that the Holy Spirit's got so much to work with for you. So if you dive into it, you might listen to that discussion, and then there's just okay, that's really the message you needed to hear.
Yeah.
And if you go with the process and you just allow yourself to be guided in how to use it, you'll find that that's what happens. It just uses it appropriate, and it'll get you to listen to exactly the right thing at the right time, so that you hear your message.
Yes.
So you hear the message for you. So instead of defining yourself as an artist, you go, I paint. I paint extraordinary paintings.
Yes, right.
It's part of your. Did you ever do your kind of mission statement in exercise 9? Did you ever clarify that?
Oh darn, no, that's a good one.
I think that might be something to go and revisit.
Okay.
Let me just show you, because I've actually got it up here. That's page. What's the end? 40 something. Let's have a look. 40. No, not that one. There's the blueprint for your higher self. This one. 45. Finding your higher purpose. So it's worth reading those every day. I actually put it into my email that you go through one or both of these, part of your morning practice. And then I'm here on this planet in this lifetime too, and then express it. Yeah. So what is that mission? What is your mission statement? And read it every day. Clarify it, read it, because it reminds you. I'm here to paint extraordinary paintings that reconnect people with the truth, or reconnect them with who they really. You phrase it as you want, because then you've got your statement of purpose. It's like, okay, well, if I'm going to honor this, I need to do it. It becomes the practical doing, and reminding yourself, because if you don't, it's very easy for the ego to come in with its ideas and say, oh no, your painting's about making money. Your painting's for another purpose. So this is reminding yourself, no, this is the purpose, and every day you repeat it, because that that then sets the intention for the day. You go into your studio and now you're going to paint differently because you've said, this is my purpose for my painting. So I would definitely get that down to a very concise sentence, maybe two, but try and get it to one sentence. That's
Yes,
very
I'm going to. I'm resolved to enter into that studio's place with more intention. Instead of just barreling in there and going, okay, radiators, kettle, switch on that. Right, are we ready?
Right, yeah, what are we going to paint now? Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe that process Sally did could work for you. If you just went, okay, let me release my resistance here. You know, am I resistant to anything? And then notice, okay, is there resistance? Okay, so now I'm willing to release all my resistance. To just set yourself into, into the right space so that you allow this divine energy to come through.
Sally, that would be fantastic if you could share that on the. Thank you so much. I will do it with more intention and more honoring of what I'm doing. Actually, I feel I've dishonored what I can do.
Which is then the sadness, but that's good because then you come into like oh my God, how could I have done this? Okay, but then I can change it. I don't have to keep doing this. Which is good. So the pain is only there to awaken you and say, you can change your mind.
Yeah,
you can change your mind. So yeah, I mean, as a suggestion, if you did this every morning, you read this before you go into your studio.
Yeah.
You do your spiritual practice and everything with the AOLG, and then do a little process of releasing resistance, like for a minute or two when you're in your studio. Just going, okay, so am I? And what we'll try doing is practicing that little release process, releasing a resistance before each session.
Yeah.
So that you get familiar with how it works. If you join us, Sally, then you're most welcome to guide it. Otherwise, I'll just do a version of it. So I think it's quite a nice way to set one into the right energy, so that you're more receptive to whatever it is that you're going to be doing. Okay, so let's go back to that. Any other thoughts on these little suggested ideas, suggested forms?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Let me perceive this only in the true awareness of perfect love's plan for awakening. So just asking to see things correctly, to perceive things truly.
I see my sadness and grief and the ego wildness this morning as just, and I'm perceiving this in the true awareness of perfect love's plan for awakening. How I perceive it.
Yeah, I want to speak a little bit about the wildness. What I've found, is if you really start to push the ego, which you're doing here, because you're going. I mean, you've been at this over 3 months now.
Yeah.
In quite a disciplined, intensive way.
Yeah.
It does start to react very wildly. Like seriously doesn't like it, and all kinds of crazy thoughts and emotions start coming in.
Yeah.
And you can go like, what's happening here? This is like, am I going mad? But you're not. What's happening is the ego is being shown, and it's coming up in its wildness and its craziness as a defense, because it doesn't want to let go of your mind, and so you start pushing it into a corner. It's like a caged rat or something that's now fighting for its life. It's like vicious and whatever, and you just have to calmly observe it, the part of your mind that's able to look at that from pure formless awareness, and just go, really? Okay, that's interesting. You want to do that, do you? Or like, and it just reveals itself as completely insane. You start to recognize just like what Jesus is saying is true. This thought system is completely insane. It makes no sense at all. And you really, there's no way you're going to listen to it, because it's crazy. So it's part of the unwinding.
I was aware this morning that this was a tough moment in time, and I had a fleeting thought, oh well, maybe 3 months is enough.
Yeah, the ego's like, no, stop already, stop.
Yes, please. Okay, 3 months, you've done well. You'll get a bronze badge. You know,
yeah. Just go back to how you were. Okay,
yeah,
so just forget the 3 months.
Oh, so much better before.
But you can't really. You can't forget.
Oh, that was a funny one. The ego was telling me, it was better when you were thinner and more stressed, and now you're just getting fat, sitting on your sacred sofa, listening to all this.
Is that what?
Yeah.
And you gotta, if you can observe that from the Holy Spirit's perspective, you gotta laugh. It's just funny.
Well,
that's just ridiculous.
Am I getting fat? No.
No.
Well, it's gonna use whatever it can to try and convince you not to. Not to do it. So that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But that's the resistance, and this whole journey is about overcoming resistance. If it was easy, it would be a snap. It'd be like, oh, well, there's no resistance. Oh, it's just, there we go. You are as God created you. That's it. End of. You get it. No problem. But the journey is in overcoming the resistance to it. That's what makes it difficult. Which is why he's got these lessons, because he's saying, well, yeah, I know you got resistance, so it's we're gonna work with that and help you to overcome it.
Let's look at it again for the 85th time.
Yeah, 86th time in another way, with some other words, just so that we keep you interested, because it was the same lesson over and over. You'd get bored, wouldn't you? Your mind would go, oh no, this is too boring. Yeah. 365 of the same lessons. No, I can't do that. So he has to switch it and change it, and but it's essentially the same thing every day, just in a different form. He's working with different angles. Today it's about grievances. Tomorrow he'll move on to something else, and then he'll cycle back. In a week's time, he'll come back to grievances. That's how it works. Because he knows, well, you probably still got grievances, so we'll cycle back there, and we'll have another look and see if we can clear out some more of them. Okay, so any thoughts on the first lesson? It's a very simple one, but really powerful. Like, only this is going to work. Okay, wow. If I really accept that, this is a game changer. Only this plan's going to work, and I'm only going to accept that. Well, my life's going to change from that one lesson if I truly accept it.
So I had a little aha. So when you talk about the mission statement, I wrote down, my mission in this lifetime is to expand consciousness and remind us who we really are. Mm-hmm. And then I was thinking about this new program that I've just set up. And I wrote down, it's unfolding beautifully, trust, love, and be guided. And then you said something, and I went, oh, it's my awakening. It isn't that I'm taking other people through the awakening process in my course. It's my awakening. And I know it's so subtle, isn't it? It's just a slight change of perception. It's like, oh, so it doesn't really matter if anybody joins or what happens, or whatever my perception is of what's happening. It's my awakening. All this is my awakening.
Yeah, which then takes any kind of self-imposed pressure off, doesn't it? Okay, well the point is, I'm doing this for me. It's my own expression. It's my own awakening and healing. And if people join me on the journey, that's great. And there probably will be people who join you on the journey. But it's not primarily about the external. I mean, this Art of Letting Go course for me has been a major learning in that, because it started off with, okay, well, I want to get 100 people in 6 months, and it's like, Holy Spirit's got other plans. No, that's not how it's going to go. Actually, you're going to go for years and years and really work on this, and have to go through all kinds of doubts about, is it going to work and is it not? And eventually just let that go and go, no, I'm doing it for myself. The whole point of this is it's my awakening, and other people will join me. The right people, mighty companions, will join me on the journey as and when, and that's just leave that to the spirit. So it's a much more kind of relaxed feeling, much more peaceful feeling. Like, yeah, okay, well, I'm doing this for myself, and whoever joins me on the journey, that's amazing, and that's mighty companions, and then it just happens organically. It started to happen just like, people are referring other people, and so all of the pressure's off. Okay, well, just let it unfold, and go with it, which is then you're walking the talk. Then it's like, okay, well, this is actually how the program should be run, according to the principles of the facilitator of the program's been teaching. Surely, otherwise there'd be a contradiction. So yeah, thank you for sharing that insight, and it resonates with me too. Okay, so let's switch it. I'll ask you to read 72, holding grievance is an attack, God's plan for salvation, and the alternative, and then Sally can read the specific applications.
Okay. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that God's plan for salvation will not work, yet only his plan will work. By holding grievances, I am therefore excluding my only hope of salvation from my awareness. I would no longer defeat my own best interests in this insane way. I would accept God's plan for salvation and be happy. Alternatively, holding grievances is an attack on perfect love's plan for awakening. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that perfect love's plan for awakening will not work, yet only its plan will work. By holding grievances, I am therefore excluding my only hope of awakening from my awareness. I would no longer defeat my own best interests in this insane way. I would accept perfect love's plan for awakening and be happy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
But you got that one?
I get it. I get it.
Done deal, sorted.
Okay. All right.
Never hold a grievance again.
No, never. Catch me doing that.
Oh. He's just the genius of this course is he's getting us to see it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
He switches and says, okay, this is actually what it is. If I hold a grievance, I'm attacking this plan for my own awakening.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. That's actually what I'm doing right now if I'm holding this grievance.
I am being self-defeating.
Yeah.
I'm going against.
And then of course, if you understand that, you're hopefully going to stop doing it.
Yeah.
You're going to go, that's just really stupid.
Yeah,
Why am I attacking my own best interests here?
Yes.
Why am I sabotaging my own salvation, my own awakening right now? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Why am I doing that?
I find in the morning when I wake up and I can be, I don't know what I've dreamt, but I can feel heavy and some dread going on. And sometimes the wonderful words, even the translated words, elude me in this state. But so sometimes just saying in kind of very everyday language, you're not helping yourself here. Why don't you help yourself? Not even don't be stupid, just help yourself here. This is for your benefit, Iona. No, Iona, I'm talking to you. Can you help yourself? Can you and doing that can be a very valuable step for me to then, okay, ego relaxes, I remember the words, I come back to the lessons, and then it can flood in. Yeah.
To be truly helpful, that's I actually give you that in the daily program. I'll just go down here. It's actually in here, so that might help you. This prayer to be truly helpful.
Ah, lovely.
That might be worth
Maybe
incorporating, reading that every day. And actually, you can't really be truly helpful to anyone else unless you're helpful to yourself. So you can interpret that as like, I'm here to be truly helpful to myself and to everyone else who is really myself. They're not really separate from me. But it's got to start with me, right here now, sitting in my bed or wherever you're doing your practice, to be really helpful to myself. That's why I'm here. So
I think I'll copy that and tape it to the wall with big daily prayer to me.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
And all others.
I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent me, to not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. Content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I'll be healed as I let him teach me to heal. In fact, you read it.
I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal.
I might translate that, actually. Like the hymns and the who's.
I was doing a translation in my head, yeah.
Yeah.
I read it.
It's a loving presence, really, to represent this loving presence.
That's it.
So I don't have to worry. It's just an ultimate like letting go into, okay, I don't have to worry. This presence is going to direct my day. I'm in good hands here. And I'm content to just follow this process. So this is an invitation for flow. We talk about flow, getting a consistent invitation for the flow, the spirit to be guiding you, to be truly helpful in your day, through your words, your actions. So use it. I'll change this, actually. I haven't looked at it for a while because I look at this every day. So it's just like, okay, well that part of the email sorted out. I need to get other stuff. But I'll translate it and put in another slide, just to say, to make it more, to represent, the life. Well, why don't you translate it?
I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent perfect love that sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or do, because the perfect love that sent me will direct me. I am content.
Presence. Why not say the presence? That could work.
Because
the presence that sent me will direct me.
Because the presence who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever it wishes, knowing the presence goes there with me. I will be healed as I let it teach me to heal. And it depends how many it's or presence, loving presences.
Yes, how many you want to put in. I'll do that tonight. Put in a translation into the slide and substitute it, so it'll have loving presence and rather than the hymns. But it's really just this, this loving. It's an invitation to connect with that presence and bring it in. Say, yes, okay, I'm open, I'm willing, guide me, show me, guide me, and I can relax because I'm being guided. And it's all, I don't need a plan other than just following this presence moment by moment, what it's telling me to do. So it's an invitation into a flow state, really, which is what we want to get into in the day. Okay, so happy with that lesson. You want to give a little summary of we still got to do, Sally's got to do that, do the next one. Do you want to give a little summary of what he's saying here?
That accept that perfect love's plan is the only plan that will work. I'm defeating myself by excluding my only hope of awakening and this is insanity. Yes. I
think, for me, it's to make it crystal clear. Okay, if I hold a grievance, any grievance against anyone or anything, this is what I'm doing right now. It brings you to a very sharp point of, okay, whoa, just watch your thoughts, be really vigilant.
Any grievance.
Don't allow any grievance in, because that is what you're doing.
Okay.
In that moment, you are attacking perfect love's plan for your awakening right now. That's what I'm doing when I'm holding the grievance. Wow. Okay. So all of these are a wake-up call. In the moment, so no, stop. It's a pattern interrupt. You interrupt your pattern of thought and emotion with these thoughts. No, stop. Think again and change your perception, which is what he's then asking us to do with these specific applications. Do you want to read those, Sally?
Can I just say, normally I have the quote on my desk that says, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me to say one? I've just changed it to your one that I've just written down, which is show me, guide me. It's a lot simpler, a lot easier to read on my desk. So
Yes.
swapped out my daily ritual. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, it's just to make it smooth, smooth, easy, seamless. Use what works. Use what works, and makes it. It's not a chore. It's just very easy. These words are just pointers. In the end, like behind this prayer, there's one simple intention. You could say this in one sentence. You say, just let me be truly helpful. I'm just here to be truly helpful and to be guided. I'm going to listen to guidance, be guided, and be helpful. And if you can get into the feeling of that, then the prayer is useful. It's changed your state into a more helpful one. Okay, so do you want to read the specific applications?
Yeah. Okay. Specific applications for this idea might be in these forms. I am choosing between misperception and salvation as I look on this. If I see grounds for grievances in this, I will not see the grounds for my salvation. This calls for salvation, not attack. Alternatively, I am choosing between misperception and awakening as I look on this. If I see grounds for grievances in this, I will not see the grounds for my awakening. This calls for awakening, not attack.
Okay. Any thoughts on those ideas?
It's certainly not a choice, but in the moment, you don't always recognize what you're thinking and saying, do you? But in this light of day at the moment, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Awakening is the
Yeah, it's to interrupt the reason he's giving us these lessons is to interrupt the default pattern of the ego. So if you find yourself dwelling on a grievance, the thought comes in and goes, okay, well, let me remember I'm choosing between misperception and awakening as I look on this. Okay. It brings the choice into mind. That's what he's always trying to do. Look, you have a choice here. You don't just have to run the ego's program. You can choose a different perception of this, and that's all he's doing with these lessons. Brilliant pattern interrupting, really, the whole day. That's what he's trying to do. Interrupt the ego's pattern. That's why he says practice it, frequently through the day. So he gives you the longer practices, but he's going, frequently through the day, so that you just keep doing that, keep interrupting the ego's pattern, catch it in the moment and change it. And every time you do that, that's a little miracle. Every time you change your perception, a little miracles happen. So then you're living the miracles. You are living, the teaching. And I think that a lot of people who don't quite understand what he means when he says, this is a course in miracles. It's a course in this daily, hourly, moment by moment correction of your perception as you go, and that usually doesn't manifest in anything phenomenal. It's just a shift in your mind. It took me many, many years to understand what a miracle really was, because I had this whole misperception about, it's about walking on water and phenomenal acts of manifestation and but that's not what it is at all. It's this daily, just moment in the moment, correcting your perception, that little shift. That's the miracle. If you do that many times a day using his workbook lesson, then you are living the Course in Miracles. You're living in the domain of the miraculous by doing that. Yeah. And the effects of it will be noticeable in your life. Things do show up differently. Things play out differently. But it's the the rubber meets the road in the correction of your perception, moment by moment, and catching it when it happens. So when the ego comes calling, when the ego's doing its thing, you catch it in the moment. Say, no, stop.
Yeah.
Use the idea to stop myself and correct it in the moment, so I don't go down that track. And eventually saying, if you keep doing that, the ego's got no traction. It's just like you just stop it in its tracks before it even really gets started. And so it never gets a chance to get ahead of steamer, because you know how it works. One thought, like one little grievance, and then if you believe that, and then you think another thought, now an emotion develops, and then the emotion feeds into the thought. And if you carry on that track for a few minutes, suddenly you're in a full-blown grievance. And your state has changed, and the ego's got you, and then it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to continue on, on this track for as long as I can possibly sustain it and make it worse. And now you go out into the world in a grievance, frame of mind, and it all happened from one thought that you could have just gone, no, this calls for awakening, not attack. So let me drop it, release it, and I don't have to entertain it at all. So simple. I mean, imagine if we'd been taught this as kids, like how different one's life could be. To just go, wow, why don't we get trained in how to do this, how to let go of our negative thoughts and emotions? But
because the game would be over and there wouldn't be anything to do while we're here.
Well, it could save you a lot of grief, but that's how it goes. Sometimes we need to experience the grief of the ego's thought system to be ready to say, okay, no, I need to change something. It usually only happens later in our adult lives. Having done the ego's program and suffered because of it, we go, okay, something's got to change at some point. Okay, so any thoughts on any of that? This particular lesson, holding grievance and attack on God's plan for salvation?
No,
or the previous one?
I think I'm going to have to go now. I need to stretch my legs, go and have some exercise. So thank you very much for having me. It's been miraculous.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, join us again. So tomorrow, same time, and then we've got a. Oh no, we don't have evening session time. We've got an evening session tomorrow from 7:30.
Okie doke. Lovely.
Your time. Okay.
Right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Sally. All right. So, shall we do a little med on this?
Sure. Yes, please.
And then the text is a bit of a monster. Have you looked at it? It's 14 paragraphs.
Oh Lord, what's it called?
It's called. I'll tell you now. Forgotten. Let's find
God
it.
or ego? Is it chapter 11?
Yeah, chapter 11, section. Where are we? Text reading. So this one was a short one. It's called The Problem and the Answer. So there you can see 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm looking at it just thinking, okay, 13, 14, 15.
He starts off by saying this is a very simple course. Should we just leave it at that?
Yeah. So we just translate the first paragraph and leave it.
Just do that.
Anyway, we'll see how we go. Let's do the meditation first, I think, to prepare it. And then
we'll meditate on
ask the Holy Spirit's guidance to
yes,
to do it. All right, so just making yourself comfortable, sitting feet shoulder width apart, back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pausing at the top of the inhale, smile, connecting with your heart space, just bringing this presence into your heart, connecting with your heart, and bring to mind any grievances that you're holding, grievances, any disturbance to your peace, any thought that something should be as it's not. So just observe whatever that thought is, whatever the emotion is. Observe any physical sensations in the body. Just breathing into those, creating some space, some light, some awareness around those thoughts and emotions. And remind yourself that only God's or perfect love's plan for my salvation or awakening will work. It's really senseless for me to search wildly about for awakening outside of myself. I've seen it in many people and in many things. Maybe I'm seeing it once again in one of these grievances. But when I reached for it, it was not there. So notice the expectation behind the grievance. Remind yourself that salvation or awakening does not lie there. You're just mistaken about what it is and where it is, and you don't want to idly seek for awakening when it's obvious where it lies. So remind yourself only perfect love's plan for awakening will work, and I will rejoice because its plan can never fail. So exhale it out, and just blowing all of that grievance energy, thoughts, the emotions, the sensations, just letting them all go, the nothingness they really are. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out, and just rest in the peace and the stillness that come when you let go. You might remind yourself that only perfect love's plan for awakening will save me from my perception, my misperception of this situation. There is no exception in perfect love's plan for my awakening. So let me not make any exceptions in this situation. Let me perceive this only in the true awareness of perfect love's plan for my awakening. And you just rest in the peace and the stillness of this a few moments. Then breathe in again. Nice deep breath in. From the nose into the stomach, blowing the stomach up like a light-filled balloon. You can imagine breathing in light. That helps you. Don't visualize well, just feeling of lightness entering you with the breath. The breath symbolizes space, awareness, spacious awareness. So you breathe that in, breathe it into every pore, every cell, every muscle, your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in this light. In this light, you see any grievances differently. So again, bring to mind any grievance. You mentioned grief this morning. Well, it's the same root word, isn't it? Grief and grievance. So bring that thought, emotion, sensation to mind. Observe it. Breathe into it. And say to yourself that holding grievances is an attack on God's or perfect love's plan for my salvation or awakening. It's an attack on my own awakening. Breathe in again. So just observe how you attack that plan. As you observe that grievance, notice how unpleasant it feels. It limits your awareness. It keeps you away from this pure formless awareness that wants to come in and heal it. So breathe this light in, light of true awareness. Remind yourself holding grievances is an attempt to prove the perfect love's plan for awakening will not work. Yet only its plan will work. So by holding grievances, I'm therefore excluding my only hope of awakening from my awareness. I would no longer defeat my own best interests in this insane way. I would accept perfect love's plan for awakening and be happy. So I exhale, just blow away all the grievances. Imagine it's like a dark energy leaving you, leaving your mouth, leaving your body, leaving your energy system. You release it, let it go. And drop into this presence of perfect love. And be happy. If you need some more ideas to help you let go of that grievance, breathe in again, remind yourself that I'm choosing between misperception and salvation or awakening as I look on this. If I see grounds for grievances in this situation, I will not see the grounds for my awakening. It's one or the other. It's a grievance or a miracle. Not both. And remind yourself this calls for awakening, not attack. Again, you exhale. Again, just let go of all the energy that it takes to hold on to the grievance. It takes a lot of mental and emotional energy. Ties your energy up, locks your energy, binds your energy into this egoic thought system, and then your energy is not free to express love. It's bound up in this grievance, this apparent conflict. It's a very tight, contracted state. So if you're noticing any more of that, just breathe in. Breathe light in, spacious awareness. You can visualize light if it helps you, and breathe it into any areas where you feel that tightness and that tension in your body. Maybe a knot in your stomach, a block in your chest, tension in your neck, your shoulders, in your jaw. And you just breathe in the lightness, the spacious awareness that the breath represents. You can visualize a golden or white light if that helps you. And remind yourself that holding grievances, he is an attack on love's plan for my awakening. I do not want to do this to myself anymore. I wish to be free. I want love and peace and joy and freedom. So I must let go of my grievances in order to have these. So you exhale. Just letting it all go. Surrendering it all into the nothingness that it really is. Blow it all away with the breeze of your breath. And sink inwards to the deep peace, stillness and the silence that await you beyond your grievances. So nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just surrender in to this place beyond grievances, a grievance-free state of perfect love. perfect freedom, pure formless awareness. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just surrender into the state, which is perfect love's plan for your awakening. Right now, for the next couple of minutes of deep silence. So many thoughts, grievances come up in awareness, disturbing thoughts. Just observe them. Breathe into them. Take a nice deep breath in. Breathing in the light. And visualize a golden or white light flowing in to that area in your body where you're feeling it. Just a sense of spacious awareness of light being lifted above the battleground to pure formless awareness, the blue sky, which is your true awareness. And these dark thoughts are just clouds. Thoughts and emotions are just clouds. Would have no impact on the sky. They're at another level. So you, above the battleground, in the blue sky of your pure formless awareness, observe the clouds and just blow them away. The breeze of your breath. You watch them just dissipate into the nothingness they really are. And remind yourself that holding on to these grievances, these clouds, is an attack on perfect love's plan for my awakening. It's an attack on this blue sky, this pure formless awareness. It obscures that awareness. It denies that awareness. So I would not do that to myself anymore. And just sink in for another minute or so of deep silence into that deep, deep peace of your own pure formless awareness. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just surrender completely to that experience. The next minute of deep silence. And so gently coming back in this deep state. It's an awareness of the body and the breath, senses, and the world, and on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile, scan your mind again. Notice any grievances, anything that's not perfect peace. And just be willing to let it go. It's just a cloud pattern. There's no substance. Blow it away with the breeze of your breath as you exhale. Releasing it into the nothingness it really is. From the lower stomach into the spine. The bottom of the exhale. And you just rest here. In peace and stillness for a few moments. Just surrendering into that peace. Notice it's still there, even though you're coming back into sensory awareness. That deep peace that was there in the meditation is still there. So you anchor that peace in, let that peace guide you through the rest of the session and the rest of your day. So it is said, so it is done. So on the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, the sofa, feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling, your hands touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, the smell in your nose as you breathe in. Notice what you're hearing, the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things. This very still, calm, surrendered state of mind. Just awareness, pure formless awareness is there, present without any judgment, interpretation, labeling. That awareness is what directs and guides all of your perceptions. So take that awareness into whatever you're seeing. On the count of 3, open your eyes and just look around. Take a few moments to just observe the various objects in the room around you in this calm, detached way. So if you're not naming them, interpreting them, labeling them, they're all the same. Notice that it's really one awareness, no matter what you're looking at. The same awareness underlies your perception of everything. Rest your eyes randomly on a few objects for a second, 2 or 3 at a time. Then move on and notice that nothing changes, whether you're looking at what you would call a wall or a sofa or a cushion or a person. This underlying awareness, pure formless awareness, is the same. It is unmoved. And so you learn that that awareness is the truth. That's the truth of your mind. That's your true awareness, and you stay rooted, stay connected to that. And we'll ask this awareness to guide us through the text reading for today, and to do it in the most effective way and beneficial way possible. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. We'll move now into the reading and discussion of the text. Okay. Do you need a little comfort break, Aina, or are you?
2 minutes.
Okay, I might move in. Oh, it's actually quite nice outside. Could stay. I'll have to move in at some point. But yeah, okay. See you in 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get everything set up. Okay. We back and ready.
Mhm.
Good. Okay, so yeah, let's have a look at the text reading.
Yeah.
So this one is called The Problem and the Answer. If you want to follow in your book, it's section 7, chapter 11. Sorry, section 8 of chapter 11, The Problem and the Answer. So, do you want to start off with number 1?
This is a very simple course. Perhaps you do not feel you need a course which in the end teaches you that only reality is true. But do you believe it? When you perceive the real world, you will recognize that you did not believe it. Yet the swiftness with which your new and only real perception will be translated into knowledge will leave you but an instant to realize that this alone is true. And then everything you made will be forgotten, the good, the bad, the false, and the true. For as heaven and earth become one, even the real world will vanish from your sight. And the end of the world is not its destruction, but its translation into heaven. The reinterpretation of the world is the transfer of all perception to knowledge. Oh, you've translated it.
No, I haven't. I've just put the
Oh, got it.
I put it ready to do.
I thought, wow.
It's no. It's ready to
Just ready to get to work with. Okay.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's go through it and to save time, we'll do the translation and just unpack it as you go. So read and then go, okay, whatever your reflections are on the sentence or two, pause it when you feel like you want to pause, and then we'll translate it as we go through it.
This is a very simple course. Perhaps you did not feel you need a course which in the end teaches that only reality is true. So what I thought was reality before is the ego version. Ego. But do you
Could almost
believe?
be, we could actually, how about this? We'll put a capital there. What do you think?
I think that helps.
I think it helps, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. Just
Yes, that helps.
make it more helpful, more understandable, and that's the only point to change it. So if it helps, that only reality, because he's talking about true reality, so that's a capital.
Quite so.
The caps can be very helpful in pointing you to what's what's true reality and what's not, because there's small reality would be the ego's reality. The only reality is true. Okay.
But do you believe it? When you perceive the real world, you will recognize that you did not believe it. Does real world, or at least real, have a capital R?
No, because it's an adjective. You don't capitalize adjectives generally.
Recognize you did not believe it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we'll keep that small. When he's referring to the ultimate transcendent reality, however, in whatever term, then it's a cap. But the real world is small. Otherwise, you'd have to capitalize world as well, really.
I know.
That should be capitalized. So then a lot's going to be. I think it's when it's a direct reference to, okay, that transcendent reality that's beyond this reality, then the term should be capitalized to clarify it.
Yet the swiftness with which your new and only real perception will be translated into knowledge will leave you but an instant to realize that this alone is true. What he would have referred to as a holy instant? Is that correct?
Yeah. New and only real perception will be translated into knowledge will leave you but an instant to realize that this alone is true. So saying you'll have this, this moment where you see truly, like true perception, only real perception, and then it's translated to knowledge, and then everything you made will be forgotten. The good, the bad, the false, and the true.
Yes.
So in like this is he's talking symbolically, because actually this instant seems to extend for our entire lives.
Yeah.
It seems to be more than an instant to us, but in truth, in the whole of time space, it's really such a tiny tick of time. The rest of your life is nothing in the whole of time. I mean, it's nothing. We think of in our human lifetimes, 30, 40 years is a long time, but it's not really. It's like in all of time, it's gone in an instant. To realize that this alone is true. So your realization of this for the rest of your life is this instant, I think, that he's referring to realize that aloneness is true, and everything you made will be forgotten. So pointing us to the ultimate transcendent reality beyond this one, the good and the bad and the false and the true. So even true perception, everything you made, okay, so that's what he's talking about here. Everything you made, so that's your ego's made it up as a substitute for true reality. So you have duality, you have good and bad, you have false and true. But even the good and even the true perceptions, which is all that's left when you perceive the world truly, even those will disappear, because you go beyond perception into knowledge.
Knowledge with a capital.
Which is what he then says, in number 7. So if you want to read that.
Yeah. For as heaven and earth become one, even the real world will vanish from your sight. Yes. The end of the world is not its destruction, but its translation into heaven, or state of oneness.
Yeah, it was not its destruction, but its translation into the state of pure formless awareness.
Yep.
Or just into pure formless awareness. But state, we normally put in state with heaven.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Because it's a state of mind, that's what it is. So
the reinterpretation of the world is the transfer of all perception to knowledge.
Yeah, do we want to change heaven there?
Definitely.
As heaven and earth become one, even the real world will vanish from your sight.
As the state of pure formless awareness becomes one, real world will vanish from your sight.
Let's put it in there and see if it makes sense. As state of pure formless awareness and earth become one, even the real world will vanish from your sight.
Which real world is going to vanish?
Which reality are we talking about now?
Yeah.
The real world is this reinterpreted world. So let's go to
the reinterpreted world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go to our glossary. I think we've got real world in here, but let's make sure we have that properly defined. Real world, yeah. So there we go. You want to read?
Of the physical world with the Holy Spirit, awareness of oneness as the interpreter of all your experiences, i.e. true or corrected perception of a seemingly external world. Right.
So you still have this perception going on. You subject, perceiving, object, but everything's reinterpreted. So you don't see it in the same way. And so this real world is what the Course is aiming to help you to perceive as a necessary step in the correction of your mind, because you can't just go to eternity straight away. It's the reinterpretation of everything you made is necessary first, which then leads to the perception of the real world.
Okay.
And then the final step is taken by God when we lay it all aside. We say, okay, well, I've done, all the reinterpretation I need to do, and the world, I only see love now. It's only love. It's only this pure formless awareness shining through everything. And so the world's being corrected. My mind, my beliefs have been corrected. You see, so that's the whole point. Remember, you're not trying to change the world.
No, I know.
Because that's just a projection of the mind.
Yeah.
What you're trying to do is change your belief
Yes.
about yourself and about the world. And in the changing of the belief, then the world is changed, because your interpretation of it is, your perception of it changes. The moment you change belief, you change perception. So that's the very direct. It has nothing to do really with changing things on the level of form, although those changes may well show up just because the mind is fundamental. So if you're doing this, then these kinds of things can happen, in the illusion of time and space, because it's all mind. These things will happen, and miracles can happen, and extraordinary things can happen. But the primary thing is changing your perception, and in order to change perception, you must change belief. You can't change perception without changing belief. So this is the technology that he's teaching us, saying, right, let's go and let's look at the so-called world that you perceive outside of you, and we're going to use this now to awaken you instead of to enslave you, which is the ego's purpose. We're going to use this to awaken you to the truth, and that's the only purpose of the world, is to reinterpret all of this red stuff that the ego made in its madness, reinterpret it all and see it from the perspective of oneness. This is the awareness of oneness, or the Holy Spirit, that reinterprets all of it. And really, there's no belief in separation, even though you're looking upon the effects of it. You don't believe in it. You don't believe in this belief. You just go, no, none of this is really true. None of it, I still see it and hear it and with my body's eyes, but I just don't believe in it anymore. None of it's meaningful or true for me anymore. So it doesn't have the power to affect me mentally and emotionally. That's really the key here. So the body senses continue. You'll still have sight and hearing and so on, but it's how you interpret those that has changed dramatically, radically, from interpreting them from the belief in separation, and this is all real and very, very dark and unpleasant and unhappy, to, well, it's nothing. I'm really not. Whatever's going on in the projection, it's just a show. I don't get taken in by any of it. So I remain rooted in this awareness, no matter what is happening here, because I recognize it's all just a dream. None of it's, and it does take time to get to. I mean, this is the work. But the freedom of this, you go, oh my God, I can watch whatever craziness is going on in the world, the news, whatever's happening in your personal life. You can just observe it all and go, it's all just a movie. It's just a show, and none of it's true. And when the movie stops, which I know is a done deal already, I'm already awakened. When the movie's over, there's just a blank screen, and none of it ever really happened. And that movie analogy is quite useful to think. But the thing with this movie is you seem to be a participant in it. You're not just sitting in the audience. You seem to be the character in the movie. So that's why it's more difficult to let go of, because you seem to be in the movie playing out your role, and all the characters seem to be real, and the whole plot and drama seems to be very real. And so what we've got to do is we've got to zoom out of that with this awareness of oneness, the Holy Spirit, and just be able to observe it from as though we're watching it, as though you're just an observer, and you're sitting in the front row, like looking at the screen, and you're looking at the character that is you, but there's your true awareness is able to just observe it. Okay, so Iona's doing that now. Iona's feeling that now, and it's just a character. And so you start to detach from the character in the dream. You are not the character anymore. And once you've fully done that, you fully corrected your mind, you see the real world from that observer perspective, then the dream disappears. There's no need for it anymore. It will simply disappear, and the images projected onto the screen of time and space, which is all that's happening, will simply vanish because they're not necessary anymore. If the belief in separation is no longer there, then the images have no use and no purpose. So the very mechanism that the ego has used to enslave us is the mechanism that the Holy Spirit's using to free us, the projection, the illusion. So now you just reinterpret the illusion, see it differently, perceive it differently, and then the game is over. I was wondering if we should change this. Will vanish from your sight. Will vanish from your perception. Should we keep sight? What do you think? Even the real world will vanish from your sight. Awareness, maybe?
Yeah, that's more in keeping.
Yeah. Because again, it's not, yes, okay, he's actually talking about you won't see it anymore because there'll be no need for sight, physical sight. But it's more than that. It's from your awareness.
Yeah.
So it's like a temporary phase. You correct your perception, and then this entire world, the so-called real world, will vanish because it's not necessary anymore. And the state of knowledge is reestablished in your mind, and in knowledge there's no need for images and perception. It's not necessary. So yeah, it's a big paragraph, that. Wow. Reality, I mean, he's just taking us straight into true reality here.
Yes.
Saying this is, the real world will be reinterpreted and then it will simply disappear. It makes complete sense on the metaphysics, because if you drop the belief in separation, that is the cause of it all, there's no more belief in separation, then the seeming effect must also disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Has to, because it's an effect, not a cause. So he's pointing us, outside of the dream, saying, this is the ultimate goal, and actually, this is all doable in your lifetime. You can do this. Doesn't need to take eons. Just an instant, just an instant to realize that this alone is true, and then that instant, is the rest of your life. Because in time, it's really just an instant. 20, 30 years is nothing. So this reinterpretation process and seeing the real world is then the purpose of the rest of your life. Okay, so happy with that? Do you want to just give a little summary of it? Paragraph 1.
Yeah. He's saying correct your perception and the real world will appear outside of this dream.
No, so the real world is the reinterpreted dream.
This is where I'm confused.
Yeah. So let's go back to our diagram, shall we?
I can, if I just keep the picture of the diagram, so I'm visual, so I got that the diagram in my mind. Yes. Yeah. Okay, I've got that.
Okay, so you got the diagram. So
yeah. So the real
within this is the world the ego's made.
Okay? I get that.
Based on the belief in separation. The real world is the world reinterpreted.
Yes.
So I must draw some arrows. Keep meaning to do it, but
the real world reinterpreted.
Yes. So now you got these blue arrows coming in.
I get it.
From God, love, oneness, and that changes your perception of whatever is showing up in this crazy world the ego's invented. So if you see, you look upon this, say, fearful, wrathful, separate God, the Old Testament, and you go, no, I just reinterpret that. That is not true. That's just a false God. So that's a reinterpretation. You might be involved in a relationship and someone's accusing you.
I understand that, and I reject that concept of a fearful, wrathful, separate God. I undo my miscreation. Yeah, so I get that bit. That's simple.
And you just do that with every belief you have.
Every belief, every grief, every grievance, every
Hmm.
belief, it will be
As
translated.
it shows up in the world. So, you know, it might show up in the form of someone else attacking you, seemingly.
Absolutely. No, I get every way in which it can show up. Grief, grievance, attack, discontent, anything that disturbs my peace.
Yeah. And whenever you notice the grievance arising, then that's the call to healing. To say, okay, I need to change my perception of this. I need to let go of the grievance. And that's when you see only the real world, when you see only through the eyes of love, then that's the world of the ego reinterpreted. And that's what he calls the real world, which is then the necessary stepping stone to back to perfect love or pure formless awareness. You don't go here without the reinterpretation of this world. That's a necessary correction process.
So this is simple. He's saying you will reinterpret and correct all your perceptions. And all your perceptions will become knowledge with a small k. Yes.
Yeah, he uses small, which is also interesting. From perception to knowledge, they don't use a capital K for knowledge. I think because knowledge is sort of maybe it's referring to the understanding of truth.
I think it is.
But you could certainly capitalize it, and it wouldn't be inappropriate. I mean, we could start
to have that capitalized.
I think so. Okay.
Because that's pointing me to this step needed.
Yeah. Well, the point is that if it helps you to identify what's, he's talking about two realities here.
Yeah.
So the ego's reality, when you're in that awareness of it, is the lowercase.
Yeah. Okay.
And then,
yes, exactly. That's why it needs a capital K for knowledge.
So then it just clarifies it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we've got knowledge there as well.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was just paragraph 1, but it was big.
Yeah, well, he's taking you into the whole thing here. I mean, in one paragraph, he's giving you, once you understand this diagram's helpful to reference to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you can then go, okay, like he's giving us another angle on the whole picture here. If you don't have the bigger picture, then it's often hard to understand. But if you reference it to this diagram visually, then you go, okay, like I'm getting it now, visualizing it. Yes, I'm still within the world. I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world, you see? So I'm still in the domain of perception, but my perception is now corrected and true. So I'm in the real world. This is the real world. The reinterpreted ego's world is the real world. That's a necessary. The whole course, in fact, is directed towards this. He's saying, I will bring you into the real world. I will show the real world to you through this process of correcting your perception, which are the miracles. I will reveal the real world to you, and then God takes the final step. You will be ready for knowledge, and it will happen of itself. He's saying, I can't do that for you, but I can help you to correct your perception to the degree where you no longer believe in separation at all, and then it's a done deal. The perfect love, pure formless awareness will just kind of merge with you. God takes the final step, means it's just, you just merge into that. You just, you'll finally lay aside the body, and your mind is healed, and you just merge into that, and there's no bypassing of it anymore. You're not doing the ego's trick, because you go to our timeline. What it never wants you to do is to find this. You go to timeline of consciousness. There's this great, huge reality here, and it's always going to try and get you to bypass it. So it's going to keep you rooted on the timeline. And then when you die, if you haven't ever been aware of it in your life, you're not just suddenly going to become aware of it. You're probably going to bypass it. You'll just go, oh, we'll just go here. We'll go into some kind of incorporeal mind state, but there's still guilt and fear and a separate identity going on in my mind. And so I just completely miss that. And guess what? That pulls me back onto the timeline in another birth. and I just missed it entirely. So death is not going to help you if you still don't know who you are when you die. It's not
I
going to
know.
help you at all.
Do
You're
you
just
get
going
a
to
feeling
reincarnate.
with do you get a feeling with your child that he has done some work in previous lives?
Oh yeah.
Good.
It's quite tapped in.
Good.
But evidently still got, there's more to do. Otherwise he wouldn't be here. You don't incarnate if your work's done and you rest in pure formless awareness. Then
You're not
there's
going to
no
show up in a football
not going to
stadium.
show up in a body. No, it's not going to happen
No.
because there's no need for it, and there's no desire for it to happen. So if we're born and say, okay, well, there's karma. You've still got an unresolved karma is really an unresolved belief in separation. You still believe in it in some way, shape, or form, and you need to now have another life to help you to totally let go of that belief.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, well then don't worry, you'll get another time. Back you come, round and around. The wheel of birth and death, they call it in the Eastern teachings. And this is the way out. But you've got to go. The beauty of this is this is saying moment by moment in your daily life, change your perception. So the miracles are how you live your life very practically in this world to be taking your mind out of the dream back to reality. If you keep doing that, by the time you finally lay your body aside, it's a kind of a done deal. You've done it so many times, so often. You're rooted in this awareness, and all of this has been healed. You really like your timeline, and you're like, yeah, whatever. It was just a dream. I'm not really attached to it. It was useful for my awakening. That's the only real purpose of it. But I'm not attached to the character. I'm not attached to the story, the drama of it, because I recognize none of it's true. It was just a mad dream, which I've now done what I should have done with my dream, and that's to awaken from the dream. I've used the dream for the one purpose, which is to reinterpret it and awaken from it, which is what he's really saying here. And that awakens me to knowledge, which lies here. So we could put God, love, eternity, pure formless awareness. And this is also knowledge. I'm not sure if I'll be able to fit it in.
You make the font smaller.
Make it smaller. Yeah. There you go. That'll sort of work. Knockage. Knowledge. And he's got other terms for it as well, but that kind of gives you the idea of it, I think. So I think that diagram is also quite helpful to remind you. Okay, so that's how it plays out.
Yeah.
Time, and at every point on this timeline, if you have a grievance around something, that's the red arrow trying to take your awareness down onto there. And the reinterpretation of that is, okay, I let go of my attachment to it. I find that state of mind. I go back into this pure formless awareness. And then I've drawn these blue arrows because this is the reinterpretation of the situation. Now, having let go, you now see it differently. And so you notice that often there's the two arrows, and this is the vacillation you often experience. You can bounce from one to the other, different perception of the situation. The ego tells you one thing, the Holy Spirit tells you another, and you need to learn to listen only to the blue arrows. I'm just going to I'm going to open this. I never do this, so I'm going to do it now. This what is it? Information, course information exercise pack. Okay, I think we're there. So let's open this. We got the correct version. I think so. It looks sure we don't get version control issues. Yeah, okay, that's the correct one. Okay, so we're going to correct this. Let's draw. There we go. So on here we can draw this draw an arrow in here, I think. Oops, why did I put it on there? Let's take it up. I don't want to let me do that. There we go. So now we've got these blue arrows coming in, which are the reinterpretation.
Okay.
So I think that's quite useful to put in there. Match shape. Let's go find the correct blue. Actually, what do we want? We want eyedropper. So we want system cancel. We want more colors. Oh, it doesn't let me do the eyedropper thing here. Okay, well we'll just pick a. I think it's that one actually. It looks about right. So we've got arrows coming here, and those arrows are the reinterpretation of the dream. Which then shows you the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the belief is that's showing up, whatever the ego's invented, the Holy Spirit's got an answer, which is kind of what this section is about. The problem, there's only to recognize there's only one problem, right? The one problem is I believe in separation. That's my one problem.
Yeah.
And the correction of that is, okay, well, let me not believe in it. So let me drop the belief in all of its forms. So the cunning of the ego is it doesn't seem to be the belief in separation necessarily. It seems to be something else. Oh, someone's done this to me. No, that's not my belief in separation that's doing it to me. But that's not true.
Somebody else's fault. Not somebody else's fault.
Yeah, it's someone else's fault. It's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
So my belief, I'm not the guilty one, they're the guilty one, and there's nothing I can do about it, which of course is the victim state. But you can do a lot about it because you can stop believing in the thought system that created all of this. That's what he's asking us to do. So let's put in a little reinterpretation thing here. So we say this is the reinterpretation of the ego's dream by the awareness of make it smaller. And now he's got to fit it in somewhere. Interpreter, that'll do, I guess. I have to. Not sure where else I'll fit it in. Or maybe I can fit it in there. Reinterpretation of the ego's dream by The awareness of oneness. Yeah. So that's, and that's really what all the course is trying to train us to do. Saying, let's just reinterpret everything and bring you into the real world through that process. Okay, so happy with number 1? Moving swiftly on to number 2.
The Bible
Why
tells
don't we, to save time, let's just go straight into it, shall we? Read it and then translate it. Because there's 50 paragraphs to go.
I know. We're not. Yeah, we're going to do as much as we can. The
Hmm.
Bible tells you to become as little children. So I guess the openness and innocence. Little children recognize they do not understand what they perceive, and so they ask what it means. Excellent. So that's what he's saying.
Yeah. So I think we'll leave leave the little children, because that's what the Bible's saying. So okay, well that's a kind of a reference, a quote almost from there. And then he talks about little children. So okay, we'll go with that.
I have my phone's dying and it's a hotspot. Hold on.
Okay.
Plug it in. Little children, yes. And they ask what it means. Great. They ask what it means when they don't understand. Do not make the mistake of believing that you understand what you perceive, for its meaning is lost to you. Well, that was my mistake. Yeah.
You see, this is the recognition that we have a fundamental problem. To go back to that idea of David Hoffmeister.
Yes.
You have to recognize that you have
problem,
one
perception.
Yeah. Do not make the mistake of believing that you understand what you perceive, because if you think that you understand it, then its meaning will be lost to you. You're going to be in a false meaning, which is what we've done. We think we understand the world. We come into this world and we go, yeah, I kind of got a handle on this. Okay, so I'm a person. This is how the world works. These are the rules. This is the rule. This is how this game works. And I'll try and play the game according to my understanding.
Yeah.
And he's saying, but you got it all wrong. If your understanding is fundamentally you don't understand, then everything's going to be wrong. Your perceptions are going to be wrong. If you don't understand that it's a dream caused by a belief in separation, and you think it's real, well, of course, you're going to misinterpret, you're going to misperceive everything. The entire world is misperceived because of that lack of understanding. So it starts with the recognition that, okay, I don't understand anything. All right, let's start from that point. I don't really understand. So all of my existing understanding, I need to question it of life. And that's really what this course requires. To question every belief and every value that you have, which is probably why there's only 2 of us. People don't want to do it. The bottom line is you don't want to do it. It's easier to carry on in whatever beliefs you are than really go, okay, let me question every single belief and value I hold and ultimately undo them. It's very disturbing to the ego, that's for sure.
Really disturbing.
Disturbs the ego's equilibrium.
He's telling me, do not make the mistake of believing you understand what you perceive, for its meaning is lost to you. Yet the remembrance of oneness, Holy Spirit, has served its meaning for you. And if you will let it interpret it, it will restore to you what you have thrown away. Yet while you think you know its meaning, you will see no need to ask it of it. Ask it. I don't think it of it is good.
When you think you know its meaning, you will see no need to ask it of
remembrance of oneness.
Maybe we should change it to something like your true guide.
Fine.
What do you think? Was that adding too much?
Yeah, I like that. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, well, that's the only that's the only reason to do it. But it adds something to the in the translation. Instead of it, you'll see no need to ask it of it. Well, yeah, see no need to ask it of your true guide, which is capitalized, so for reference to oneness. So, what do? You ask a guide. You would ask a guide for guidance. So this is the, coming back to this perceptual problem that David Hoffmeister talks about. You have to acknowledge that you have the problem, that you don't understand anything. Because you're perceiving it from a false perspective. If you think separation is real and you really are human and the world exists, then within that belief, everything that you think you understand is going to be false if that belief's not true. So you have to acknowledge, okay, I don't understand to do this course. If you think you know what reality is and that you've got it all sussed, you're not going to be willing to do this course, are you?
No.
Because you'll say, well, it's okay, I've kind of got it handled already. I know what I'm doing. Basically, I know what I'm doing. I've got it handled. There's so there needs to be that real humility, and usually that humility only comes with pain. You get humbled by the pain of trying it your way, and it doesn't work, and it hurts.
Yeah, I like that. You get humbled by the pain. I know that.
Because it's like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing, but I keep trying, and I keep hitting my head against the brick wall, and it's painful. And wow, okay, I like enough. Eventually,
for me, it was just like, this world is so fucking mean. It's mean, and I know this isn't right. I know that this is not okay. It's not meant to be like this, because I don't actually feel that mean. So what am I doing wrong? And I did many things to become mean, and I don't like that either. So there's got to be something else. So
and then that leads you to the spirit, because it's like, okay, yes, actually it's not right. There's something, as Morpheus says, you don't know what it is, but there's something wrong with the world, and it's like a splinter in your mind driving you mad. You don't know what it is, but it's that sense of something's not right here.
That was my experience.
And I think it's a universal experience. Everyone has it to an extent.
Everybody has the splinter.
Everyone, yeah. But some people will listen to it and say, okay, this disturbance is enough for me to really go and investigate this. And I want to find the answer. And and dedicate your life to finding the answer. That's really what awakening is about. Saying, I want the answer. Most people are content to deny that splinter, and they cover it over, and they distract themselves with various activities in the world, because they don't really want to face the pain of that, of looking at that splinter and saying, okay, I need to really go into this and look at it, and it's not going to be comfortable or nice.
Uncomfortable enough.
But it's when they get uncomfortable enough, when that splinter becomes a sharp needle driving persistently into your flesh, to use an analogy. It's like, okay, it's just so excruciatingly painful that I cannot abide this anymore. I seek relief. I need to find a way out of this. Then they will listen. So it's when the pain becomes acute and the splinter goes into the sharp needle pressing, that's when most people will listen and awaken. You don't have to do it that way. Jesus is saying you don't have to learn through pain. You can just learn gentle lessons and use your minor grievances and upsets to correct. This is what he's trying to teach us. But in practice, most people need that. They need the sharp pain to say, okay, I need to I need to do something different here. What I'm doing isn't working. And then they will come to the course and be ready and open. Otherwise, if you think you know what you're doing, then no, this course isn't going to work for you, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to summarize number 2 then?
Don't make the mistake of believing you think you know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good summary. Because if you do, then you will not ask for guidance. And while you think you know its meaning, you will see no need to ask it of your true guide. So you're not open then. If you think you know, you're not open to true guidance. And of course, then no healing can happen because you're listening to the ego or the belief in separation. Okay. Number 3.
You do not know the meaning of anything you perceive. Not one thought you hold is wholly true. Wow. The recognition of this is your firm beginning. You are not misguided. You have accepted no guide at all. Instruction in perception is your great need, for you understand nothing. Recognize this, but do not accept it. Is that saying recognize it, but don't accept that I understand nothing?
Yeah.
Don't accept it. Okay, yes. All right.
Because
So
what you're saying,
there's no point in saying, okay, I don't understand anything, but not do anything about it.
yeah, exactly. What you're saying is no, I'm not going to accept that the state of not understanding is, there's a temptation. Some spiritual teachings even say, oh, well, just accept you don't understand, and that'll get you there.
Yeah, exactly. I recognize that feeling. It was quite a relief. I don't understand any of it. Do you want to do anything about it?
Well,
No.
yes, of course, I do want to understand.
Yes, of course I do. But
I do want to understand truly. So, all right, well, here we have a course that's going to give me the understanding that I want. For understanding is your inheritance, he's saying.
True.
Saying, ultimately, you must understand what is in you. You can't not understand it.
Yeah.
Just carry on. I'm just going to turn on the light.
For understanding is your inheritance. Perceptions are learned, and you are not without a teacher. Your willingness to learn of your teacher depends on your willingness to question everything you learned of yourself. For you who learned amiss should not be your own teacher. Well, that's very straight, isn't it? He said you need help. You're not doing this on your own. It's not a one-woman show. So give up your ideas of grandiosity and the idea that, this woman is an island and she can do it herself. It's actually nonsense. You haven't got it right yet. So you will, you've learned, you miscreated, so you need a help. And I like that. And I like the image of that, hand being extended, saying, okay, great, you've actually realized what you need. So let's go.
So he talks about the teacher there. Your willingness to learn. Yeah, your willingness to learn from the awareness of oneness, but that's a bit clumsy. So maybe we'll just say this teacher.
Yeah.
How about that? I think that's better. So we've called it teacher and guide, and we could change this. Where did we have guide? Guide was up here.
Yeah.
We can change that to teacher if you want.
Okay. Yeah, let's keep it some continuity there.
Yeah, so you don't need to ask it of your true teacher. And then he uses teacher down here.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to summarize that?
All right. It's him saying, Yeshua saying, you do need a teacher. Your teacher is here. Be willing to recognize the teacher. You've learned, you've miscreated, and it needs undoing.
Well, it starts as a two-step process here. You have to recognize first that not one thought you hold is wholly true. This recognition is your firm beginning. Okay, so I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing. Not one thought I hold is wholly true. Okay, I don't know. So therefore I need instruction. I need a teacher to teach me. If I think I know what I'm doing, if I don't recognize that I have a fundamental perceptual problem, then there's no need for a teacher, is there? Because no, I'm sorted. And this is the arrogance of the ego. No, I've got it sorted. I'm okay, thanks. And or, we carry on in the same thought system.
Yeah, we do.
Until something there's enough pain. Really, that's typically what happens. It's enough pain to make me say, okay, well maybe actually what Jesus is saying is true. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. I've got no idea. Okay, all right. So now I'm teachable. I don't really know what I'm doing. So teach me that. Show me. Give me the true understanding. I want to learn. But the prerequisite is I must be willing to let go of all of my existing beliefs, to learn something new. Okay, happy with that?
So teacher appears when the student is willing.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's only when you're willing. I've had experiences. I remember reading Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. Read the first chapter. It's like didn't really register. I read it, whatever. Carried on the way I carried on, and then I don't know, maybe a year later, 2 years later, I read it again, and I was like, "Holy shit! I know I read this, but like, it's actually like suddenly I'm just getting it."
Yes, I had a similar.
But what he's saying is so profound. Okay, I've actually never been present in my life, and I'm missing this. Like, I'm missing this now, and it's like, wow, whoa, that's a mind blow. Like I haven't been there my entire life. But a year before I read it, and it just didn't penetrate. So it's it's when you're ready.
Yep.
Sally was saying 2 months ago, Sue mentioned this to her, and she just whatever. She wasn't ready. She wasn't, so she just ignored it and carried on. And now it's like, okay, well, actually, something just called her to join and to dive in.
Cool.
Because she felt like she needed a bit of a shake-up in her existing practice. So it's when you're ready, then it's the same for you. You were ready, you got an email, it's like, okay, you need a bit of a shake-up, and so then something comes along and you had to make the choice to say yes. You could have said no, in which case, okay, well then you're denying the guidance that's been given to you. Then you just resist, and then pain builds up until you'll have another opportunity. If you resist these opportunities, you could be given others, but they tend to be more painful.
I know.
It gets amped up because, okay, well, if you didn't listen the first time with a gentle nudge, then we need a pinprick the next time, and the next time it's the sharp needle. And if you still don't listen, then maybe it's the baseball bat. That this is kind of how
I get
it works. And it's not that the spirit isn't doing that to you; it's the ego doing it to you. But it's what you then need. It's the level of pain you need in order to listen. That's that's so. It depends on how high your pain threshold is. Some people have an extremely high
tolerance.
Yeah, and you actually want to be very intolerant. You don't want a high threshold. You want to be like, okay, no, that doesn't feel good. Even if it's a minor grievance, or I feel a little bit of anxiety. No, that's what he's trying to train us to do here. Be intolerant of the ego's thought system entirely. Just no. Stop it.
Are we being recorded? Are we being recorded?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to share something?
No, that's all right. I mean, I'm not throwing that away lightly, but it was just an experience of high pain threshold. Yeah. So I agree with you. Our tolerance for pain varies from person to person.
And it's what he's trying to do is bring it down with this mind training. It's going to say what was previously really not a big deal for you now becomes quite a major intrusion on your peace of mind. This is what starts to happen. And part of you is like, well, hang on, I used to handle this stuff okay, but you didn't really. you just tolerated it, and it was kind of all repressed. You weren't aware enough to realize, oh, actually that really doesn't feel good. As you become more aware, the pain of the ego becomes more acute. You go, oh, that's just really not nice. So I need to do something about it now, not tolerate it anymore. That's what he's trying to. So you get this increasing sensitivity through this heightened awareness, which brings everything into a heightened awareness, and then the necessity to do something about it. Because if it's more acute, if I feel even a minor anxiety and I feel that acutely, okay, I need to then release it. I need to let it go. I'm not just going to tolerate that and allow it to continue. That's what he's trying to train us to do with this course.
Okay.
Which is why the workbook's so important, because it's like, don't tolerate the little intrusions on your discomfort. As they show up, you now have a practice to deal with them, release them. So moment by moment, you're listening to the answer of the Holy Spirit.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very profound. I mean, the more I've worked with it, I didn't really. I mean, no one really does. You don't really understand what you're doing when you start the workbook. But the more you work with it, and the more you understand, what his modality is and how he's working, and maybe you reference it to other modalities, you go, it's a really, really well constructed course. This, just in terms of the way he's teaching you, the learning methodology, the practice. It goes according to what we know works in terms of course design and mind training and so on. I guess, well, he's a master teacher, so you would expect that, wouldn't you? He understands what he's doing. All right, so
no one can withhold the truth except from himself. Yet God will refuse you the answer he gave. Hang on.
okay,
No one can withhold truth except from himself. Yet.
You want to translate that to?
Yeah, all right. Nice, yes. Yeah, pure formless awareness.
Given that you're reading it and you're the only one here and you're female.
Yes, I'm the only one who's shown up for this marathon.
Yeah. We'll change it to her, shall we? So yet pure formless awareness.
Will not refuse.
Perfect. Love.
Will not refuse you the answer it gave. What answer is he referring to in the past tense that the answer is already given?
What do you think? Will not refuse you the answer it gave. So the moment, this goes back to the metaphysics, the moment this idea of separation came in was also the moment that the answer was given.
Right? I am.
Yeah. So thought of separation came in. The answer is no, that's not true. Only this is true.
Okay.
Only love is true. Of course, when it first happened, we didn't listen to the answer.
Right.
We decided, no, we want to believe in this. We want to go down this track and explore this.
Yeah.
But the answer was given. So he says the Holy Spirit came into being at the moment of the separation.
Yeah.
Because the answer was given the moment the delusion was invented. The moment the false idea came into your mind, the answer was there. So it's not like, God created something else. It's just like, okay, the answer then became necessary. The moment you had the thoughts of separation, an answer was necessary. A reminder of the truth was necessary, and that presence, that reminder, remembrance of the truth, is what he calls the Holy Spirit. So then it came into being with the separation. So it was given. You were given the answer straight away, but you refused to hear it.
Yeah. I will not refuse you the answer it gave. Ask then for what is yours, but for which you did not make, and do not defend yourself against truth. All right. What does that mean? Ask then for what is yours.
The answer.
The answer. but which you did not make? What is yours, but which you did not make? And do not defend yourself against truth. The bit for which you did not, but which you did not make. What is yours, but which you did not make?
Hmm.
My belief in separation.
Yeah,
Ask
you
them.
didn't make the answer. The answer is true. It's beyond your making. Remember, making is what he refers to.
Yes.
Making is of the ego, or the belief in separation. So you did not make it. The belief in separation did not make up the answer. The answer is because the answer is coming from source, from what's eternally true.
So ask them for what is my inheritance, my origin. Do not defend yourself against the truth. Don't throw up defenses. Yes, you made the problem. Pure formless
Well, that's
awareness.
resistance. Sally was talking about resistance. Resistance is a defense, isn't it? No, I don't want it. So, for instance, if someone says, "Oh, I don't have time for this," there's another lady who joined with her, and she was saying, "No, she doesn't have time. She doesn't have the headspace for it." And it's, well, that's a resistance, isn't it? It's like, oh, okay, so I don't have time to learn the full truth of who I am. Wow, okay. Well, when will you have time then? As Eckhart Tolle says, reincarnation is not going to help you very much if in your next life you still don't know who you are. You have the same problem. I still don't know who I am. And guess what? It probably doesn't get any easier. Your next life, same old, still got the ego's thought system in charge. You're still in a world that seems to be outside of you, that seems to be quite cruel and harsh and mean. And, it's the same thing. So if not now, then when?
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to do this? So resistance is just saying, no, not now, whatever excuse to avoid listening to the answer.
So I'm being asked here, do I want the truth or not?
Yeah.
And he's pointing out that it's only me that's withholding truth from myself.
So you made the problem. God has answered.
Awareness has answered.
Yeah. And it answers you, it can answer you moment by moment. You just go into that state of awareness. You do a breath break, a meditation. There's your answer right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very present. Just in the experience of, okay, it's okay. I'm in that state of mind, and in that state, everything's perfect, and it's okay. And that answer's available for you in every situation.
Yeah. Every situation.
No, because that awareness is always there. Just, can you find it? That's really where the spiritual practice comes in. Okay, can I allow myself to go into that answer, into the experience of that answer? Mm-hmm. And that means I have to let go of my current experience, which is an interpolated one. So, hence the letting go of forgiveness is essential to get into the experience of the answer.
Did it this morning, actually driving to the pool. It was really nice. It was the feeling in the body, the thought, the emotion, and then the letting go. Yeah.
So you observed there was something there, and then you just went, okay, I'm just going to release it.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and that's all it is. If you get good at this is the one skill you need to learn. That's it. You get good at letting go, and you can just manage your mental and emotional state moment by moment by this letting go process. Then, you've mastered the art of letting go. Then the real world's shown to you moment by moment. You can have a happy dream. And you're preparing your mind for the day when, okay, it's game over, your life ends, and the dream ends, and that's it. There's going to be no more dreaming. So it's the final dream. And your life unfolds, with ease and grace, and you're in a state of flow, and that's the best you can do here.
It is the
Not
best
heaven.
for you.
It's not heaven, but you can have corrected perception, and you can have a happy dream.
You can have a happy dream. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and but it requires that you be able to let go, that you be able to master the art of letting go, and in whatever the situation is.
So this is my happy dream training.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Have I translated that?
Yeah, you just number 5. Ask yourself, therefore, but one simple question.
Ask yourself, therefore, but one simple question. Do I want the problem or do I want the answer? I don't want the problem. I do want the answer.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be refused me.
Yeah, if I really want it, then it will be there, because it was given. Do not refuse the answer it gave. It's given it to you already.
Yeah.
You just haven't listened to the answer. That's the problem.
Right.
You didn't listen to the Holy Spirit. We went, no, we'll do it our way. We want to believe in separation. Screw you, and off we go. And then we we end up down the bottom of the ladder of separation going, what the hell? Where are we? What's going on? And we don't realize that it was a series of bad decisions that got us here. And not listening to the answer of the Holy Spirit is what got us here. If we'd listened to the answer, the first moment, the moment of temptation, we had that tiny mad idea of separation. If we'd listened to the Holy Spirit's answer, it would have been no problem. It would have just been, no, it's not real. It's fine. Let it go. Don't believe in it. But we believed in it. This is the problem. We believe. This is a belief in separation.
The power of that has just dropped in again.
Yeah. If we hadn't believed in it, there would have been no problem.
Yeah.
But because we believed in it, we created a huge problem for ourselves. But fortunately, the belief remains false. So that the Holy Spirit can fix this if we allow it to. Yeah, it looks a bit neater. Let's just manage to. Don't know why it doesn't want to do that. It's gone.
Dribbling on my book.
So it's useful always to remember that the ego is just a belief.
Yeah.
In separation. And it's that belief that has the power. The idea of separation in itself, you don't believe in it, no power. Just an idea, whatever. I don't believe in it. I don't act on it. I don't make it real. The power lies in that in the belief, which we systematically and progressively are undoing here. That's the mind training. Is he saying, okay, so we need to, the problem is the belief, so we're going to undo the belief systematically and progressively as it shows up in your dream. And as all of this happens, he's showing us, okay, this is how the ego works, and now you can reinterpret it with the Holy Spirit and simply not believe in him.
So this chapter is called The Problem and the Answer.
Section.
It's very black and it's very section. It's very black and white.
Yeah.
Belief in separation.
Which is the nature of the course, it's a problem, but it's only a problem in your imagination. You've invented the problem. So do you want to continue in that invention, or do you want the answer?
Yeah.
So simple, so direct. That's what I love about it. It's just so no ambiguity. It's quite straightforward. It's not always easy to do it, but what you need to do is not, there's no equivocation here. He's telling you very clearly what you need to do.
Yes.
Just will you be willing to do it?
Hiding anything.
No. I mean, it's totally like when people say, "Oh, well, there's many ways of interpreting." You go like, really? He's trying to be as clear as possible. So there's really only one interpretation of this course, which is how Jesus has taught it, and he's been so explicit with his words. It's a pure non-dual teaching. right? He's saying it's this or that. He tells you over and over, it's one or the other. It's the problem or the answer. It's love or fear. It's the belief in separation or the Holy Spirit's awareness of oneness. Choose, but you can't have both. How many times does he say that? Over and over and over again. So how else do you interpret it? When people say, "Oh, well, I have another interpretation," you go like, how do you get another interpretation from reading those words? Are you not reading the same words? Because he's very, very clear. But the ego is very cunning, and so it'll try and do that. I had this conversation, I think I might have mentioned, with a guy. It's like, no, I'm of the alternative school of non-duality. We're going to interpret non-duality differently. Okay, how do you interpret not two? Non-dual means not two. Okay, there's only one. How do you interpret that differently? Then clearly you're no longer in non-duality. You've now gone into duality, haven't you?
Did he hear you?
No, he didn't at all. Didn't want to get it. I just said, you can't do that. He said, oh, well, oh, yes, I can. He said, why do I have to choose? I said, because they contradict each other, that's why. You can't have an illusion and a reality in your mind and have peace. There's a fundamental conflict. No, that's too, yeah. This is why I didn't go with the course. He read it. So I know, because it's too like black and white. He said there's shades of gray. I'm like, okay, that's what you want to believe. And it was so interesting because I realized, having had that metaphysical conversation, that there's no way I could do business with this guy. Not a chance.
It was a business.
Actually, a business conversation. How's that? And we got into non-duality from a business conversation, because fundamentally I was saying, well, what we need is one. It was about alternative currency. What we need is one currency, an alternative one currency, because the power of it is in unity. If everyone's using it, then it's got power. If we've got fragmented multiple cryptocurrencies, as is happening now, there's not much power in that. It's more separation. He's going, no. I think we should have multiple. And it's like, well, fundamentally then, we can't agree on the business strategy because we have a different mindset about separation and oneness, don't we? I'm saying oneness is the only answer. So everything, on the level of form has come from that. So one currency makes total sense if oneness is your idea. And if you believe that separation is the answer, then you're going to believe that, yes, multiple different cryptocurrencies, this is the answer. We're going, well, fundamentally, we don't agree. So how can we agree on a business strategy if we don't agree on the foundation of it? So it's quite interesting, because you see that these fundamental beliefs do drive everything. They drive, from that fundamental belief. If he decided to have a business in that space, and I decided we're going to have a very different business and different strategy because of the fundamental belief driving it. So that's how it plays out in a very practical way in the world, because it changes your thinking, and it changes the design of what you're doing completely. Business models, art, whatever it is, it's going to, oneness versus separation, fundamentally change the way that you perceive and then you do in that particular, whatever it is, field of endeavor. And you can't reconcile them. They don't agree. So that's why you have to choose, because otherwise you're continuously going to be in conflict, because it's like, oh, well, I've got this and I've got this, and they contradict each other. So how do I make a choice then if you've got two fundamentally opposite thoughts and decisions? You can't. You've got to choose one. It seems to be self-evident, but it's not to a lot of people. They still somehow think they can fudge it. Or I can have oneness and a little bit of oneness, a little bit of separation, put it into the pot, and that, it's a formula that can kind of work for me. And, Jesus is saying no. But usually you only will accept that when you come to your own realization of that, usually through pain. Okay, I've tried to make that work, put it into the pot of my own recipe, and blend it all up, and it's been a disaster. It's a bloody mess. It's just, the mix has got spattered all over the place. It tastes horrible. It's awful. So maybe I need to, go back and be taught by a master chef, to use our analogy, as to how to mix this, how to do this properly. And I cannot mix, poisonous ingredients or foul tasting ingredients with good ingredients and expect that that's going to then create a good dish. I mean, any chef will tell you that, the quality of your ingredients determines the quality of the meal. So you can't put rubbish into the meal and expect it to come out as a nice meal. Okay. So happy with number 4? I'm going to give a little summary of that.
Oh, I think I have.
The executive summary is that. Do I want the problem or do I want the answer?
Exactly. So, number 5, you may complain that this course is not sufficiently specific for you to understand and use. Yet perhaps you have not done what it specifically advocates. This is not a course in the play of ideas, but in their practical application. Nothing could be more specific than to be told that if you ask, you will receive. The remembrance of oneness will answer every specific problem. As long as you believe that problems are specific. Its answer is both many and one, as long as you believe that the one is many. You may be afraid of its specificity for fear of what you think it will demand of you. Yet only by asking will you learn that nothing of pure formless awareness of perfect love demands anything of you.
Okay, let's just go find where pure formless awareness of perfect love. Where are we? Number 5 down here. And so the nice thing is you do the translation there.
Yeah.
Now that sounds completely right. Nothing of pure formless awareness, or nothing of
perfect love demands anything of you.
Can't really use both. So which we use? Nothing of pure formless awareness. I like that actually. Pure formless awareness doesn't demand anything of you. It's just pure formless awareness. So the whole idea of some kind of demanding God, the wrathful, vengeful,
Yep.
It just dissolves if you translate it as pure formless awareness.
Yeah. And then 9, pure formless awareness gives, it does not take.
When you refuse to ask?
It is because you believe that asking is taking rather than sharing. Yeah. Yep, I know that.
Okay. So any thoughts on that? Paragraph and give a little summary.
Perhaps I haven't asked the right questions. If I complain, perhaps I haven't really understood that it's really practical. I just thought it was wordy. And it is okay. It is okay if you ask, you will receive, which is a mighty. It is mighty, that.
Well, this is the beauty of it. He's saying it will answer every specific problem as long as you believe that problems are specific. So you have these specific problems that arise in your life, a situation pops up, you've got a difficulty, whatever, grievance. Okay, you have a seeming specific problem. Okay, we'll go to oneness, the remembrance of oneness, and it's going to give you the reinterpretation that's going to help you to solve that problem. And then guidance as to what to do. So you let it go emotionally, mentally, and then maybe you get some guidance as, okay, well, do this. Go say this, do this, or don't do anything. Maybe the problem just resolves. So, it's very practical. This is actually a course in problem solving.
So it goes all the way back to that first paragraph of reinterpreting the world.
Yeah. As the problems show up, your problems are your opportunity for the reinterpretation to happen. That's where the rubber meets the road. In your apparent problems and grievances and whatever's disturbing your peace, that's the opportunity for the miracle, which is the shift in perception that then corrects the problem. You accept the answer, and now the Holy Spirit, the remembrance of oneness, will give you, in that particular specific problem that you are perceiving, it will give you an answer on the level of, often on the level of form, that can be very helpful. Okay, well, do this, say this. An idea pops into your head. You go, yeah, okay, well, I could do that. I hadn't thought of that. I could do that. Or maybe it says do nothing, just leave it, and the problem will go away. It's only a perceptual problem. Once you've corrected your perception, you don't need to do anything more.
And we've all experienced that. It's just that we haven't realized or wanted to realize that this help, this sort of reality, surrounds us all the time. We say, oh, that's great. I had this brilliant idea. Little me, had this amazing idea. I sorted it out. And you can sort of hear remembrance of oneness say, okay, if she wants it that way, she'll get it that way.
Yeah. But ultimately, it's a power and intelligence way beyond the little self, which is the belief in separation. It has nothing to do with the belief in separation, and everything to do with the pure formless awareness of who you really are. Yes. Now coming through, and your mind can then interpret that into the dream and say, this is the function of the Holy Spirit, is to do this.
Yeah.
Because without this reinterpretive function, you'd be lost forever in the dream world. There'd be no way home. You have to be able to perceive the illusions and then reinterpret them from the perspective of oneness in order to do the correction. And that, on the level of form, is gonna help you live a more functional life as well, because those corrections then help things on the level of form to play out better.
Yeah, I know.
You'll talk about miracles, and the real miracle is actually the correction in your perception. Mm-hmm. But then he also uses the term miracles for the things that show up on the level of form. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, something like a healing happened, and then that's a miracle, or some extraordinary event, let's say, that you can't really account for happens. Well, that's a miracle, but the real miracle was the correction in your perception.
Yeah.
That led to that. That's just the kind of manifestation aspect of it. How this plays out on the level of form, the manifestation, the phenomenal projection of it, whatever you want to call it. And you don't get attached to that, because how it plays out is actually not really that important. It's the correction that's important.
Yep.
How it plays out is up to the Holy Spirit, and you just take it as confirmation then of, okay, this actually does work. This thought system, because I got the confirmation in the world, shows me this actually works, so it strengthens my faith, and that's the purpose of it. But it's not to make the ego into anything bigger or more special. That's really the key. Don't. As soon as you get hooked into the manifestation idea, well, I need to do this in order, because now the ego's got hold of it. Now it becomes, I need to do this in order to feel better about myself as a little self. So if I manifest, then I'll be happier. And that's not miracle mindedness at all. The miracle comes when you do the correction, and it comes spontaneously from that correction, arising as maybe you do something, you get guided to act, but your action is coming from a different place now.
Yeah.
So you're not trying to achieve anything on the level of form. You're just following the guidance. And that's the primary difference between the way the ego guides you and the way the Holy Spirit guides you. The focus with the ego is always on form. Focus with the Spirit is on the correction in your perception and then in your underlying belief. Okay?
Yeah.
So, happy with that? Do you want to give a little summary of number 5?
Yeah, well, perhaps I specifically haven't asked the right question here. Can you just wheel it up a bit?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah. Is it reminding me again that this is incredibly practical course? It's absolutely specific that if I ask, I will receive it. I've rejected it because perhaps I haven't realized this. Yeah.
Yeah, just how practical this is. So a lot of people, oh, it's all very woo-woo and theoretical, and I'm reading God, so like I can't relate it to my life. But this is actually, I think, a hugely practical course.
Yeah.
Although the genius of it is he's referencing to the highest truth. He's taking you like ultimately out of time and space, revelation, all of that's in there. But he's saying, okay, but let's get very practical in your life experience. This is what's going to be helpful for you. These miracles, this correction of your perception and the miracles are going to be what's going to be really helpful for you. And it can solve specific problems for you in ways that you didn't think were possible.
Yeah.
And that's going to help you to have a happy dream, and you're going to start experiencing the effects of this correction. These corrections that you're doing are profound, and they really work, and then your belief is strengthened. And so yeah, you can actually have a very happy dream by applying this. And that's what else should you have? He's not going to ask you to have an unhappy dream. It's a happy dream while you awaken. It's not the ultimate goal. Because some teachings go, well, the goal is just to be happy in your life. That's not the ultimate goal. Because your ultimate goal is transcending human existence entirely. But while you're here, you may as well have a happy dream in this human existence, knowing that you're not really human. So the only way to really be a happy human is to realize that you're not human. That's the paradox of it, isn't it? If you think you're human and you identify with the separate self and the character, then you're not going to be happy. How can you be? Because it's the belief in separation that is then running the show. So the happy human beings are the people who realize that they're not human. Which is, that's why the enlightened ones are the happy ones. Okay, well, I'm not really human. I'm not actually a body. I'm not even really here. This character playing out in the dream isn't really me. So that's a very happy realization. None of the drama that's happening on the level of form can really affect me because of that.
So that when I learn to ask and understand, and that my only function here is to live in pure formless awareness so I can ultimately transcend time, learning that pure formless awareness never takes, doesn't demand anything. And when I refuse to ask for all of this, it's only because of my mistake in believing that asking is taking rather than sharing. Oh, that's big for me. Yep. Right.
Yeah, asking is taking rather than sharing.
Taking rather than sharing. No, take this and share it in the world. That is how love is doing me. Yeah.
Yeah. Accept the gift freely.
Accept it.
Accept it. So the ego's unworthiness won't let you accept it.
No, exactly.
And block it and say, no, you're not worthy of this.
No.
So you can't really accept it. And it will do all kinds of crazy stuff like, oh, well, actually, this is taking. You're being awfully selfish now or something. Oh, well, you're being selfish and, you're not sharing. And so, okay, so rather stay in my grievance, and that's somehow better. But you got to be aware, these are the tricks. It'll go, oh, well, isn't it so self-indulgent to sit on your sofa and just, you know the voice, don't you? It's like, and spend all this time doing this, and somehow you're taking away from something else. Okay, well, what other experience would serve me better in this moment?
I might be in Tesco.
Yeah, shopping for stuff. But this is by committing the time. You're saying, no, this is important to me.
Yeah.
No, if you can put the time in, you're saying, yes, I value, you value things by the time that you put into them.
Yeah.
And the value and money is another way. We put money into things as well. But time is a huge thing. How you allocate your time tells you what you value in your life. Directly. If you don't spend any time on this, on spiritual growth, I value it, but you don't spend any time on it, then you don't really value it because you're not spending the time on it. So that's the most obvious, determiner. It's like, okay, so what am I valuing? Well, how am I spending my time? And and then you can judge accordingly your own life and others. Okay, well, am I really walking the talk? Am I spending time on this daily, or not? Because I'm valuing something else then. And of course, the ego's got its money story. Going, oh no, but you can't afford it. That's the see, so it's never as simple as to say, okay, but you can't afford it. But you got to trust that if you really commit to this, if you really do the will of God, that you'll be supported. Because that intelligence starts to work for you in your life, and it starts to allow things to happen that facilitate that. That experience, then if you're valuing that, then okay, the so-called universe, it's really the spirit of oneness now activating, saying, okay, well, we'll activate the matrix so that experience is supported more and more, because that's what you're saying you want. Okay, so we'll give you more of that experience. That's how it works.
What I'm saying I want.
And that's abundance. Your abundance is like, oh yeah, I have the freedom to do this. I have the freedom to spend time doing this and dedicating my life to what's really important. And I don't have to be caught up by all of the ego's illusions. And I don't yes, we all need to go shopping at Tesco from time to time, but it's a very secondary. That's just practical secondary stuff.
It does seem to be very amazing to me still that this time is opening up in the way that it's doing. It's very extraordinary, and I'm full of gratitude.
Well, that's the he talks about at the beginning. He says, a miracle is the only mechanism you have for controlling time. So we actually start to play with time space when we do this. We create more time because time is an illusion. So by doing this, it definitely you start to change that, and the ego's equations of, oh, okay, well, you can do this and this and this, and there's limited time. Well, is that true? Or is that just part of this perceptual error that is time in itself? Actually, if you're going into a timeless state, you might find that time expands. You have a lot more of it. It becomes available because it's only time is perceptual. It's not real. So that kind of miraculous thing does start to happen. And then just go, okay, well, great. The spirit is with me, and it's helping me it's going to help me to do this.
Really?
And to make the time for what's truly important. And this isn't self-indulgent. It's the most important thing I could do with my time here. Is to directly study the truth. And in each of these sessions, it's like a mini workshop. You're getting a deep dive into the stuff.
I know.
Profound. If you keep doing this, it's got to be just washing the mind, undoing stuff, just accelerating your journey. Massively so. And then who knows what comes. We've talked about spiritual art. You're going to do workshops. All kinds of things come from this process. Like if you dive deeply into something, that's why, like, my own learning with this course is like, okay, if I really trust this and I really go into this and I dive deeply into it and I really commit to this, then I will trust that the process, that there's a process that will unfold.
Yeah.
And I just know that now. It's like, okay, I know what I've done over 3 years. I know it's going to unfold. It's just inevitable because I put it so much. It's like the roots have been planted so deep that it has to. It's like the Chinese bamboo story. Do you know that analogy? There's a bamboo in China that you plant it, and apparently it doesn't pop above the ground for 5 years, and nothing seems to be happening, but it's growing a root structure. So it grows down first, deep into the soil, and then once this thing comes up, it grows at something like a foot a day because it's got the root structure to support
Yeah.
that growth. So it then pulls in all the nutrients in the water, and it, you know, like you can actually watch this thing grow, like hour by hour. You can see the movement. Quite extraordinary, but it's because it's
That
done.
reminds me of the story of building the house on rock and not sand.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very similar analogy.
Yeah.
So you're going to build your house on rock. Building a house on rock is probably going to take longer.
Yeah.
Serious. Digging foundations on rock. Okay, you got to, you know, chisel in there, and it's going to be harder than building it on sand. But that structure is going to last. That's going to be a foundation for
Isn't
your
it?
whole life, and it cannot be blown by the, you know, the winds of change. So that's what you're doing, and just know, like, profound stuff is happening on your sofa. It's all happening in the inner world first,
Yeah.
before it manifests
Yeah.
in the outer. And sometimes there's a lag time. You know, it has to. I mean, you can't
Yeah,
do
you're
deep
right.
inner work without, you know, if you're in the outward phase,
Yeah.
there's no time to do the deep inner work. You need to do the, you know, the deep immersion first.
Mm-hmm.
And then the outer will come, you know, in its time, and you trust that process.
Yeah.
It will unfold. You'll be, if you guide it, if it's in the hands of spirit, you guide it, you'll be told, you know, what to do, where to go, what to say, and you just follow that, and then you're not running. The beauty of this is it's so relaxing because you don't have to do it. It's not you who's doing it. That's the point. So, okay, well, I'm just an instrument here. I'm just being used. I don't have the responsibility for this. I'm just being guided. I just listen to the guidance. I mean, that's what an easy, light way to live, rather than all that here. Okay, now I'm responsible. You know, the little I is responsible. I've got to figure it out. I've got to make sure that it's all okay. It's a very heavy energy, isn't it?
I have said that so many times. I feel overwhelmed. I feel responsible. I feel the heavy energy of arranging everything.
Oh.
And so it's, hand it over.
Yeah. And then you still do it. That doesn't mean you do nothing. But it's
Exactly.
not you doing it, you see. I need do nothing.
Yes.
If you reinterpret that, it's like the little I, needs do nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you do nothing. You can be quite active. Yeshua was quite active in his life.
Yes.
For 3 years, he was out and about. He was teaching in Palestine. He was doing stuff. So it was very active, but it was I not doing it. It's the Spirit doing it through me. He's just guided as to where to go and what to say and what to do. And then it's very easy and it's very relaxing. It's like, well, okay, I don't need to worry. Just it'll all be guided. It's going to unfold in its time. Right now, I'm sitting on the sacred sofa and I'm doing this, and that's all perfect. It's all part of the perfection of the journey.
Cool. All right. So
okay, so number 6.
The Holy Spirit, remembrance of oneness, will give you only what is yours and will take nothing in return. For what is yours is everything, and you share it with pure formless awareness. You have that. Oh. What's that? The nice one. And you share it with you. For what is yours is everything, and you share it with pure formless awareness of perfect love. That is its reality. With the remembrance of oneness.
And should we make that a capital?
That is its reality. Yes, there was the cursor was just sitting over that. Yep. With the remembrance of oneness, who wills only to restore, which, yes, wills only to restore, be capable of misinterpreting the question you must ask to learn its answer. No, it's going to be a clear answer, isn't it? You have heard the answer, but you have misunderstood the question. You believe that to ask for guidance of remembrance of oneness is to ask for deprivation. Wow.
Okay, and unpack that.
Yeah, well, what am I going to be deprived of? Well, maybe I'll start from the top. Will only give you what is mine. And I understand from previous paragraphs that what is mine is pure formless awareness. It is everything. Oh, yes. And then it says, what is yours is everything, shared with pure formless awareness. And round it goes. Yes, it is me. I am pure formless awareness. That is its reality. With the remembrance of oneness, who only wants to restore me to that perfect state, be capable of misinterpreting the question I must ask to learn its answer. So I must ask to set this whole thing in motion. I have heard the answer. The beginning, the immediate second I believed in my separation, believed in separation, I heard the right answer.
You have misunderstood the question.
Am I separate? My question was, who am I? Am I separate?
Yeah, misinterpreting the question. Well, I suppose now from our separated state, our question is, well, what is the problem here? Why am I not happy? These are the kinds of questions.
So
then you have heard the answer. There's one answer to all of these questions, whatever the form takes.
I do understand that. Yes, I have heard the answer, but I've misunderstood the question.
Do you understand why he's saying you've misunderstood the question?
Not really, no.
Yeah, because we misunderstood the question because we think that that we're asking for an answer on the level of form. So if we go, well, why is this happening to me? Why is everyone so nasty and cruel to me? Why? And what we're asking for is actually an answer on the level of form. The ego is saying, okay, well, well, this is happening because, this person isn't this in this way, and they're doing this to you, and okay, so the answer on the level of form is to do this. They being nasty to you, be nasty back, or cut them out of your life, or whatever. And really, it's a misdirected question. The answer is not how can I be happier in the dream. How can I manipulate time and space to seemingly suit my needs, my expectations and desires, so that I can be happier? If you're asking that question, it's the wrong question. The real question behind that, because there is a real question behind it, is how can I be truly happy? Okay, but I need to look beyond the ego's answer. It's not about the answer on the level of form. The only way I'm going to be truly happy is if I heal my mind, if I let go of my belief in separation. I reinterpret all of my experiences from this one perspective of the Holy Spirit, perfect oneness. And that then helps me to live in a happy dream. But let me not ask for just my life to be happy on the level of form, because that's the wrong question.
Yeah. Right.
And this is the difference between a true spiritual teaching and say something that's on the level of personal growth. Personal growth says, right, yes, you're not happy, you're asking the question, and then we'll give you the answer on the level of form. Oh, well, you'll be happier when you do this. You'll be happier when you get this. You'll be happier when you have the money. You will be happier when you have the ideal partner, relationship. You'll be, and it's the wrong question, isn't it? So of course you're going to get the wrong answer. That's how it works, which is what he's saying.
Yeah. So I'm asking, how can I be happy? And he's saying, if you're asking, yes, I am. Okay. Yes. You're asking from.
Don't ask how I can be happy on the level of form.
Yes. How can I? I'm asking, how can I be happy on the level of form? He's saying, wrong question.
So like, how can I be eternally happy? How can I be eternally at peace, and in love and joy? Okay, that's a good question, because then the Holy Spirit will answer that, give you the answer, and it will give you the answer in the world in a way that's going to make you happier in the world. That's a byproduct of the whole thing. Yes, you'll have a happy dream, but that's not the point of it. It's not the end goal, which is what the ego is trying to tell you. So some spiritual teachings say, well, the goal, yeah, is to be happy. Okay, well, that's the end goal. No, that's not the end goal. It's a byproduct of the end goal, which is ultimately to escape the whole dream. To go back to perfect oneness is the end goal. And it's a byproduct. So it's, make sure you're asking the right question, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because if you ask the right question, then the Holy Spirit must answer it. But if you ask the wrong question, then it invites the ego to come in and answer it.
Got it.
All right.
Little child of God, or extension of pure formless awareness.
Yeah, I think maybe we can change. I think we can change that, maybe.
But we went with a little child first off, didn't we? We are all children of God.
Yeah, that was earlier. Little child of pure formless awareness.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work, you see. Child of, it's the whole parent thing, and that's really what I'm trying to, like God is a big parent type thing.
Extension of pure formless awareness. You do not understand your source.
Yes. So.
Do we want to make it a little extension?
A little extension, I'm not sure. Little extension of perfect love. So we'll say, what do we change that to? I know what we'll do. Humble. How about humble?
Right.
Humble instead of little. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's a new one. That's fine. Humble extension. You do not understand your source. You believe in a world that takes because you believe that you can get by taking. And by that perception, you have lost sight of the real world. You are afraid of the world as you see it, but the real world is still yours for the asking. Do not deny it to yourself, for it can only free you. Nothing of pure formless awareness will enslave its extension, whom it created free. Whom it created free and whose freedom is protected by its awareness.
I quite like being. I think let's keep being.
Mm-hmm. Blessed are you who are willing to ask the truth of pure formless awareness without fear. For only thus can you learn that its answer is the release from fear.
Okay.
So I think he's saying that by my belief in the egoic world, I have lost sight of the real truth. I'm afraid, but the real world is still mine if I ask. Don't deny it. Yeah. I was created free, and I am protected because I am perfect love. I'm blessed because I am willing to ask for the truth without being afraid, knowing that it is my release from fear.
Yeah. So ask the correct questions. He's talking about questioning. So
again,
ask the question. Not how can I be happier in my human life, make it better. How can I be eternally happy? Another way of asking that question will be, well, show me the ultimate truth. Or, who am I really? It's all the same question, really. But it's a transcendent question, and then the Holy Spirit can answer on that level. But then it plays out on the level of form quite helpfully, because you can have a very happy dream while you're here. But don't make the happy dream the end goal. That's really the mistake of the ego.
I'm just wondering, having read 7 paragraphs, it would be a good idea just to have a little summary of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Key ideas. I don't know how I'm going to go, because sometimes, ego can just blot it out.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Well, just
when I'm in a quarter.
What's quite helpful is just to go, okay, so what's the key idea? What's he saying here?
I know. I try. It's the chapter is the problem and the answer.
Okay, so he's saying there's only one problem, really.
There's only one problem, and it's my perceptual problem, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing, basically. I have no idea. I misperceive everything because I don't understand anything.
I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
I misperceive everything because I misunderstand. I don't understand what reality is.
Yeah. I don't understand what reality is. I don't know what questions to ask, because I'm still asking this. I'm asking them from this miscreated place. All right.
And then he talks about the answer.
And then he talks about the answer, reminding me that it's always here. I have to ask for it to be shown. Understand that it's never a.
Should we put an A there? I think just spotted that.
Yeah. Do I want the problem or do I want the answer?
No. Oh, and I missed. How did that happen? I just missed one in my translation. Quite sure how that happened. Never mind, we can fix it.
Decide for the answer and you will have it. You will see it as it is, and it is yours already.
Yeah.
That's key, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's put a little space in there, I think. Shall we? Do I want the problem or do I want the answer? And these questions are just, they're just reminders. It's a pattern interrupt for the ego again, isn't it?
Yes.
Do I want the problem or do I want the answer? I mean, it's just, okay.
Yeah.
Any question, if you get stuck into a problem and it seems like there's no answer, just ask yourself, do I want the problem or do I want the answer? And the capital A kind of takes it to another level. I want the answer, the one answer to every problem.
And then once I've asked the right question, then this happy dream is sorted out on. This dream is sorted out on many happy levels.
Yeah, so that's the point. It comes from truth, from oneness. You extend it from there, and you're using this as a problem-solving technique, not to make the dream happier per se. Oh well, I want my dream life, and I'm identified with a character. No, I'm actually trying to correct all of my my false belief and take myself out of the dream. I'm trying to transcend the dream, but the outcome of that is that I'll have a happier dream, inevitably. And so give honor to this only, and let it do it, and it'll work things out amazingly on the level of form. In a way, you can't do this of yourself. You can't do this because the belief in separation cannot do this. By definition, it's not oneness. So it can only it can only believe in its thought system and come up with its strategies for solving problems. It cannot do what the Holy Spirit can do, because then it would be the Holy Spirit. Of course, it's the opposite of that. So, yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a
Fine.
reasonable summary. What I'm going to suggest, Iona, if you're okay with that, because I'm just being called to dinner and I can skip it, but we're halfway through this. We've still got 8 paragraphs. What are we on? Number 7, I think.
Yeah, we are.
So we've still got 8 paragraphs to go. Shall we reconvene at say 7:30? Does that work for you? Are you going out?
It's 10 to 6. That would be all right. That would be
Yeah.
all right. Yeah,
Then
yeah.
you can take a break. You can have some dinner, whatever, and we'll carry on, because we're probably going to be another hour at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Have a nice dinner.
Yeah, nice to meet
Thank you. You too.
Ciao.
Oh,
I'll charge my phone up because my phone is died. So see you at normal time, 7:30.
All right.
Okay.
Bye. Is that Jono? Is that 6:30 my time or 7:30 my time? Is that an hour and 40 minutes or 40 minutes time?
No, 7:30 your time.
7:30 my time. Right.
Yeah.
Good. All right then. Bye.
Okay. Bye.